Today is finally the day.
Hey, dumbass, who said you could get out of the closet?
Not today, you fool. Do you have any idea what today is? Well, do ya? Friday?
The day that Thor Ragnarok comes out?
It is National Sandwich Day. Do either of you know what that means?
There's a holiday for sandwiches?
It means that subways all across the country are going to be filled and jam-packed with customers, with lines overflowing out the door. It is on such a day where I am at my strongest. Only 1 month and 12 days until Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Dude, what's your problem? It's just Subway.
There are literally dozens of them around here. It's the second biggest fast food chain in the entire world. Why care so much about one little store? How dare you disrespect Subway? We just lost one of our stores recently. The last few years, sales dropped so low that we had to close down. We lost over half a dozen incredible employees that day. Only one store in our entire franchise remains. We shall honor the fallen and show this town what a Subway employee with cause is capable of.
Do I earn an Oscar?
No, I don't know about that, but you do earn some sponsorship points. They should give you some cash for that, man.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
You're chilling those sandwiches.
I made that skit over a year ago.
Yeah, I can tell when you said it's a month and a few days to the Last Jedi or whatever.
Yeah, that was pre Last Jedi when I made that skit. So.
I picked up on that little exposition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this in the chat's like, oh Jesus. What was that? Charlie Buster says you don't even know how to shoot two characters talking to each other. You think you're going to direct movies? Dude, this was like one of my earliest things I ever shot. So I learned it by now. So it's all good. Learned it by now. Anyway, let's talk about Die Hard. But before that, I got a panel over here. We got Tom, the Kiggity Connors of Midnight's Edge After Dark. What's up, man?
Not a lot, brother. How you doing?
Feeling good, nice and stuffed after holiday, so that's good. You better be stuffed too, right? Better have eaten. Did you start your diet yesterday? No, just kidding. Anyway, we got
dieting, but
oh yeah. Then we got the Script Doctor. What's up, man? You've been making rounds everywhere now and then, and yeah, Die Hard. This will be a fun one to talk about. What's up, man?
Oh, yippee-ki-yay, everybody! Yes, I've been making my rounds just because I got some time off, and I thought my girlfriend's up in North Bay for another 2 more days, so I'm pretty bored. So I'm doing writing and videos and stuff. So I'm happy to be here talking with all you guys about a great Christmas movie.
Yes, possibly. We shall see in just a minute. And then we got Christy with us. What's up, Christy? She just needs a little bit more watch time to reach that monetization level, guys. So definitely subscribe to her, check her out. And what's up, Christy?
Hello. Sorry, I'm eating a piece of pizza.
That is what I normally do, so.
I'm just trying to choose, like, he's going to call me, but I'm well. And Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
Oh, indeed. And then joining us right now as we speak is Nicholas Glenn. What's up, man, from Echo Base? How's it going, man?
Good. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, perfect.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I literally just walked in the door.
All right. Well, yeah, how's it going for you, man? Did you have a good holiday?
This was actually my first Christmas that I spent alone in my entire life. Also, I just started a new job at UAB, which is the University at Birmingham, or University of Alabama at Birmingham in Birmingham, Alabama. And I work at the hospital. So, of course, the hospital doesn't close for Christmas, you know. So, and since I just started, I don't have any vacation time, you know. So yeah, so I ended up working, and so yeah, I just kind of hung out and worked. Didn't do a whole lot.
Oh yeah. All right. Oh, sorry. Now I just watched Die Hard for the first time yesterday, and Die Hard 2 for the first time. I guess before we start talking about Die Hard, let's just do a quickie. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Yes or no?
No.
Yes.
I say yes.
Tom? Yeah, I know. I already know he thinks it's a Christmas movie for sure. He says he's gonna be going back and forth cooking. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that it's kind of a Christmas movie ish because I guess the plot does kind of center around it. He's going to LA because it is Christmas and it's an office dinner over there. But it's just hard to call it a Christmas movie because like Elf or the Santa Claus or something, Rudolph, where the whole theme is around Christmas, would technically be more called a Christmas movie compared to Die Hard.
I would say that it's an unconventional Christmas movie.
Yeah, a script
Also,
unconventional Christmas
Sorry.
movie.
Well, yeah, because the themes of the film are about a relationship. The thematic fuel of the film is the relationship. John McClane is there. Spoilers to reconcile with his wife, and he's had to do the ultimate type of reconciliation with her by saving her from a bunch of terrorists. It just happens to take place at Christmas, but the whole reason everybody is in that situation is because of the Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Christmas is mentioned, or there's Christmas references right around 14 times throughout the movie.
Good point, I suppose.
I mean, if we're talking the merits of it being a Christmas movie, I've argued this like a million times.
Oh, I know.
And I really stand on the point that you take Christmas out of the equation and the movie doesn't work. Hence, it's a Christmas movie because he's going to LA to see his family. We've already, you guys are just talking about that. And they're having the Christmas party at the building. That's why the terrorists or thieves, whatever, which we'll get into later, they know the building is going to be mostly empty and everybody's going to be in a concentrated area because it's Christmas, and there's a million other things you could go on and on and on and on about. In the second film, they had it on Christmas for that reason. I mean, it was almost like they were afraid not to have it on Christmas. To me, it's just like it's a Christmas movie, but you can watch it any time of the year because it's got a lot of action and fun in it. And it did come out in the summer, but so did Gremlins. But to me, it's like it's got more to do with Christmas than, say, It's a Wonderful Life. So if you're going to argue that It's a Wonderful Life is a Christmas movie, then I think you have to almost accept that Die Hard is, because you can take It's Christmas almost out of A Wonderful Life. So
I don't even think It's a Wonderful Life came out as a Christmas film either.
No, it didn't. I think it came out in the summertime as well, if I'm not mistaken. The only reason it became a Christmas classic is because for some reason, there was somebody who forgot to do something with the copyright. So for years, it was in the public domain. And because it had a Christmas theme to it, an element to it or whatever, the little UHF channels could show it for free every Christmas. So it became like a staple because of that. And because the movie, if I remember right, bombed in the box office. It didn't do very well.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, anyway, beyond that, I mean, Die Hard itself, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's a Christmas movie that you can enjoy anytime, though. So, yeah.
That's a good point.
That would kind of go back to my point of it being like an unconventional Christmas movie, So, I would agree with what Tom's saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was just watching the movies that made us on Netflix right now. Since I watched Die Hard the other day, I thought I'd catch the Die Hard one on the movies that made us, and it sounded like they had very little faith in Bruce Willis back then.
Oh, yeah. He wasn't even on the poster. I didn't watch that yet, but I know a little bit about the making of it. Yeah, I need to see that, though.
Yeah, I know a little bit about the writing of it from some of the commentaries and old stories around town. Pretty fascinating.
Right. And well, it's actually the novel itself is a sequel novel, correct? Or,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah, well, there was a movie that Frank Sinatra did in the '60s that was actually based on the first or one of the earlier novels that the series that this is based on. It's like about an old grizzled cop.
Yeah,
Right.
pretty much. It's supposed to be like a 60-year-old guy, and he's trying to do this robbery thing, and actually drops his daughter off a building or something. It's
Yeah, the book's similar to the movie. So I mean, if you want to argue that the source material, I think, has nothing to do with Christmas, that part is true. But I think the movie itself, I mean, it's such. I have a hard time saying it's not the greatest action film of all time. So I understand those who are like, well, it's not a Christmas movie, it's an action movie. So it is. It's most definitely the best action movie of all time.
yeah.
Now,
It sounded like
It's got
they
great
wanted.
drama in it too.
What was that?
Yeah.
It's also got some great drama in it too. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
just that
Mhm.
speech he gives to that cop over the radio when he's like in the washroom. That's just top notch.
Well, you could almost do this movie as a play. That's
Yeah.
the best thing about it is I'm surprised they haven't yet. If they haven't, I'm very surprised. I mean, not a musical, but you could almost do it as a play, and you can almost rework it all to where it's almost all in one area, to where it's all from John McClane's point of view, and most of the other actors are off screen until the end, perhaps. I mean, you could really work it in a really unique way. It is really a one-man show for the most part till near the end. So, but well, Bruce Willis at the time, go back to what Rookie was saying, is all he had done was television and a failed music career. So, I mean, he hadn't really done much.
Yeah, but I'm surprised that it worked out so well for them, because it sounded like they wanted to just make it an action movie based off that book, and the guy who was supposed to write the script for it, he made it sound like he had no idea what to do with this until he almost got in an accident himself and thought that he almost died, and then he was like, it's just about I should have apologized to my wife, but I didn't, and so that's what he kind of made this about, kind of is what he was saying, like, because Bruce wasn't forgiving.
Well, Bruce wasn't even attached to it at first, was he? I can't remember who was.
No, they actually said they're going through all the top actors at the time. They're
I
like,
imagine like Clint Eastwood.
they're like, would Clint Eastwood do it? No. Would Stallone do it? No. Would Schwarzenegger do it? No. Would these guys do it? No. Would Burt Reynolds do it? No. Like everybody, and nobody was doing it. And they're just like, let's take a shot.
I think Stallone would have been a good.
I'm
good role in
surprised
this
he didn't.
movie.
Yeah, entertain the idea, because that's his
Me too.
Of course, at the time when this came out, he would have been at the top of most of the popamos. So, depending on who, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I think when I remember the trailers outside of it'll blow you through the back of the theater, because it was one of the first movies to really use the fact that it was 6-channel surround sound and stuff like that. Since Star Wars, they really hadn't boasted that for a lot of movies. And I remember that being a big selling point, especially if you could see it in 70 millimeter. And I think they were selling it more on the fact that it was from the director of Predator than they were on Bruce Willis.
Yeah, they were. And he said he wanted to do like comedy stuff with this, and it was going to be about full-on terrorists at first and whatnot. And he didn't like the EPK line at first.
Arnold Schwarzenegger and John McClane. Get away from the chopper.
That was funny. Is McClane supposed to be like a cowboy type name?
I honestly don't know where the name came from. I know it was changed from the novel. It's just probably because John McClane just sounds like a average Joe.
It sounds like it'd be a cowboy down in the
They
West.
wanted an Irish sounding name. That's why they picked McClane.
Yeah, like an Irish cop from New York type of thing.
Like, I could see it being in the West. John McClane, he's one of them gunslingers over
It's
the
really
West.
like a serious version of Beverly Hills Cop taking place in one building almost. It's really weird because it's kind of the same concept. You've got you got the East Coast cop coming to the West Coast and seeing how crazy it is, and then that's just a small aspect of the film, but it does have that element of the fish out of water aspect to it too.
Yeah, I got a cool little fun fact also about the movie. I don't know if Rookie, if you've seen Lethal Weapon 2.
Yes, I have seen all of the Lethal Weapons. So
okay, so do you remember the scene where Joe Pesci and Mel Gibson go out the window with the terrorist guy and then fall into the pool?
Yeah.
that hotel is literally right across the street from the Nakatomi building from Die Hard, and in that scene you can see the Nakatomi building in the background.
I never noticed that.
Too.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
Well, the Nakatomi building is famously the Fox building.
Yep.
And that's why it was still under construction at the time they filmed it. So they're like, it's perfect because we need a bunch of floors under construction.
Yeah, well, they made it sound like
We can charge ourselves for it, make money.
They made it sound like they came up with the choreography for the fights after they saw the location, and I kind of like that because they're using what's there and how, like, what would you do if you were here trying to fight awesome guys? And one of the things I found interesting in watching the movies that made us talking about it was that the actors that declined the role thought that the main character sounded like a wuss. They're like, he's just hiding and trying to call for help. What a bitch. And then that's it. So they were like, no, they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I think it was more realistic that way too, because I mean, one guy against a whole group of terrorists. I mean, you're not just going to go Rambo in there and just start waxing everybody. I mean, it was believable with the way that they did it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it would be rather boring if it was with one of the, just Rambo it up kind of things, or Schwarzenegger, because they just roll in and kill everybody. As for with him, he's got to kind of hide and take one at a time, listen for information, try to do what he can to get cops involved, so that they can hopefully take out some guys in some way, shape, or form. Plus, there's the hostages to consider, and he can't really get a read on where everyone is, how many people are there. So,
if he made this movie, it would have been rewritten. He would have been hero first and foremost, front and center. It'd have been, it wouldn't have been the reluctant hero. He'd have had his people come in and rewrite it, I bet.
But it wouldn't even be a struggle. Like, that's the other part.
It'd be the thing that I do.
It's also like he's there on accident. Like, he's in the bathroom, just happens to be in the bathroom, and if he wasn't in the bathroom, and he just would have been caught by the gunman as well and screwed, and then we wouldn't have the movie. So, and I liked he was doing the thing with his toes.
His whole reluctance is the big part of the script, because you got to figure if his wife wasn't in that room and he could get out of the building, he would have just left and just told the cops. He would have gotten involved. And I think that's a big part of the character, and that's probably why a lot of the movie stars, like we brought up, probably turned it down, because, like I said, Stallone would have rewrote it, Schwarzenegger's people would have rewrote it, even Clint Eastwood's people probably would have rewrote it to where he wouldn't have been such a reluctant hero. He probably would have been a grumpy hero, but
yeah, well, I mean, he's just like, I wanted to, this film, real quick, I'll get to Lethal Lightning super chat real quick. Lethal Lightning for $2. What's up, my Australian buddy? Says, rookie, indeed, yes, so much. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. I stand with Lethal, definitely. Don't cancel Lethal. But I was hoping that I wouldn't like Die Hard because everybody loves it. I was hoping I'd be like, I'll watch it and maybe I won't like it. I'll find the flaws that they don't look at or something. No, I really walked out loving it. It's like, seeing it for the first time yesterday, I'm like, God damn, they really did this good. And it's like the way that they have the villain act, he's like super intelligent with it, but he is just trying to get money, but he's trying to do it in a way that, like, they won't have a trail behind them. Not just, we're going to pull off the best heist and then hide forever. Like, no, we're going to pull off the best heist, walk out good, and, just live happily without having to watch our backs. So I kind of like the way they're trying to do it.
And something else.
Villains. Villains are the best villains. Sorry, Nick.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to add something else. If you look at his character at the end of the movie, unlike probably what would be the case with Stallone or Schwarzenegger or somebody else, is he got his ass kicked off and on throughout the entire movie. And at the end of the movie, he is broke down and beaten down. I mean, he can barely walk. He's covered in blood. So
I wouldn't want to be seen as weak at all.
I'm surprised he didn't like pass out or something, or have moments where he looked like he's going to pass out. Because
and that's probably why they got Bruce Willis instead of a Stallone I mean, it may not even been that they wanted somebody like that. Knowing McTiernan, he probably knew, especially working with Schwarzenegger, he's probably like, yeah, these guys are just going to come in and rewrite this. So I need somebody who's not going to have the ego and worry about how he's being seen, because I've read Schwarzenegger's book. That's how these guys seen each other. They were all worried about who could do the badass shit and whose film they did, who did this stunt and who did that stunt.
Yeah, well, and so did Bruce do the jumping off the tower scene?
He did the one shot. That shot's him. I'm sure that was done on a sound. I think that whole rooftop was done on a sound stage, though.
Yeah. I think it was.
They said they had to reshoot, or they had to do some of that stuff on a set because neighbors around the area were getting pissed off with them filming there all the time.
Well, and you can tell the one shot is his stunt double when he hits the building. That you can easily tell, especially now in HD. But the first shot where you see him with his arms spread, that's definitely Bruce Willis. So
yeah,
he may have landed.
The impact of the glass. That's the stunt guy.
Yeah, I agree. Christy, thank you for the $2 sticker with the kitty thing. Thank you.
That's a cat. That's a fox farting hearts.
It's farting hearts.
To be clear, people, movies have always been in HD. I've seen these recent videos, and I know this is off track, but people are like, you mean there was HD before the 2000s? It's like, yeah, film.
Yeah.
Yes, film.
Yeah, the TVs just made the film worse.
Exactly.
Those interlaced.
We just didn't have HD at home. That was all it was. There's like high definition film, but yeah.
No. And it's still the same today. Like, I mean, most channels that you watch aren't in full 1080p. Most of them are still 720.
Well, yeah, it's because they switched over during early on, and they still haven't.
Yeah.
Hey, Teresa. Hey, Miss Sarcastic. I see you in the chat too.
Yeah, Miss and Sarcastic Nerd. Miss and Sarcastic Nerd. Miss and Teresa, JB. What's up, everybody? Charlie was over here earlier. Will Gentry. What's up, guys? Lethal Lightning. Christy, what's your thoughts on Bruce Willis's casting?
Well, having watched the movie first and then watching like the reruns of Moonlighting on they have it on Cozy TV. So and then I actually watched what you were talking about, the movies that made us, but I watched a couple weeks ago and they weren't all that too thrilled, like you said earlier, about him being in this movie. But honestly, now I couldn't see anybody else doing this movie.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why they gave him $5 million. That I've never been able to figure out.
I just read that too.
Yeah, they made it sound like that's an extremely high amount for back then.
It was.
And that makes me think, isn't that what they paid freaking Brie Larson to do Captain Marvel?
Just recently.
Like
this was 30 years ago, though, rookie. That's what I'm saying. So
yeah,
that was half the budget of Star Wars.
So for comparison, like how much would like Stallone? What did he do for Rambo or something? Like what? So what's the comparison?
Well, in the first movie, he didn't make jack shit. It's like later down the road where like Rambo 2 and 3, I think Stallone got like 10 or 16 million or something like that, somewhere in between there.
Okay.
And then now a better like Schwarzenegger worked his way up. Like he got like $250,000 for Conan. He got like $1 million or $2 million for Conan 2, and then he got like $1 million. I think it was $1 million for Conan 2, and then he got $1.5 million or $2 million for Terminator. Like he kept going up and up and up and doubling his salary almost every time, to where by the time he got to Terminator 2, he had made like $10 million for that. So like at that time, roughly around the same time. So like you're looking at still Schwarzenegger already had a decade's worth of movies behind him by the time he made 10 million. Bruce Willis hadn't done shit to this point besides Moonlighting. Like he wrote nothing.
I vaguely remember him in a commercial too. Was it Bruce Willis?
He really hadn't done. I don't understand how they gave him $5 million, unless it was just because they didn't want to give him back end points or something. I don't know what the deal was.
It sounded like the guy. I can't believe I forget it. Who's the guy that like hires people for you that works with the actors? The
manager or agent?
not HR, but the
No agent.
Their agent.
just an agent. Okay, that's why I was like, it's just a simple word.
Yeah, your
his
agent, your jobs, your manager, I think actually like is the one who works with you personally.
His
I'm not-
agent.
The manager kind of shapes your brand, and like for an actor, they shape your craft. For a writer, they shape again your craft for writing and stuff.
Right.
Producer, director, they all just try to keep you focused and get the best out of you, while also kind of representing you and advertising you to everyone around town.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
a good look into that world is watching the show Entourage on HBO, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's where most of my knowledge actually comes from that stuff. Because I've never had it. I've talked to agents and managers, but I've never had one.
Right. Good night, Miss. In the
Yeah,
chat.
they don't do a whole lot of work actually.
Yeah. But it's like I think Bruce Willis's agent was pitching to the creators of Die Hard or whatever. They were like, this guy may seem like he won't do very well in the job, but if you give him motivated, he'll do it or something. He'll do really well. And they're like, okay, so he's giving $5 million.
Unless that $5 million did they say that in the show? Because otherwise,
they said it kind of nonchalantly, like they're just like, we give him $5 million.
Unless that was his back end because of points. I was wondering about that because I don't see them giving him $5 million in 1988, but I could be wrong if they said that way in the show because I haven't watched it yet. I've only seen.
They face palmed when they said it though. They're like $5 million, everybody face palms, and then they cut to the next thing. So it's kind of funny.
I can't believe they'd agree to that, but I guess they did evidently.
Yeah, they put out. It's like putting all their ducks already on him without
whoever his manager was or agent or whatever at the time. Then agent it must have been.
Yeah, that's what that sounded like. And no, I am impressed big time with it because throughout the whole movie, you do feel him wearing down. Like it's not like he's just like, yeah, I'm ready for more. It's like, no, he wants to be done now. He's been done for a while. He's just like, can we stop?
Well, look at his shirt throughout that movie as it goes.
He's
like it starts out clean and white. It's like
Well, he was
covered
still
in brown
moonlighting too, wasn't he?
Yeah, with Sybil Shepherd.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, but I think she was asking if he was still making it. I think so.
Yeah.
I think
like at both times
on that time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was. I'm like 99% sure he was actually.
Yeah.
I think that show ended in 90.
I might have. Yeah, I mean the show was pretty big, so I mean I could see him give him a couple million, but his agent must have been able to wheel and deal like a mofo to get that much.
And partied for a year after nailing $5 million.
Well, and Bill, the script doctor, which is what I call him, Bill, because I don't like to call him script doctor.
Yep.
We might be able to fill this in a little bit better when they make these deals, and this might be how this happened. Especially if it's some super agent, they're like, if you want Harrison Ford or you want Sylvester Stallone or you want so and so for whatever other movie, then you'll do this with this client, and we'll guarantee this other thing, and you'll that'll happen behind the scenes, and you'll never hear about it. I'm sure
there's only ever rumor of that. Yeah, like absolutely. Yeah. Like even when I reach out to actors to get them associated with my scripts, I always ask them like, "What's your dream role?" And then they tell me, and I'd be like, "Well, okay, if you're interested in this one, I can help you write something towards that thing because usually whatever actor dream goal they have, there's not a writer in town even anywhere close to writing what they want to do because it's usually too risky or too low concept, not high concept. High concept is easily viable. Low concept is not. So yeah, you just have to wheel and deal a little bit and be like, listen, I'll dedicate 6 months to writing a script based on this character for you if you're interested in doing this thing. And most of the time they'll be like, yeah, because it's no harm, no foul for them. And as long as you got like an email or a text or something from their number or their agent's numbers happening, that gets you pretty far. And those types of deals happen all the time, as far as I understand, in Hollywood. Like,
it's quick.
Whatever can get someone into the next room.
But anyway, yeah. So I mean, that could be how that happened. Other than that, I have no freaking clue.
Yeah, and just to confirm, Moonlighting ran from 85 to 89. Die Hard came out in 88, so he was still doing the show, and he was in the show from the very first episode to the very last one.
Oh yeah, it was a big hit. Moonlighting was a big hit. So I'm not totally surprised, but I am to a point because he wasn't even on the original posters. He was hardly even in the trailers,
Yeah, I remember watching Moonlighting, and I remember when Die Hard came out, going, "Oh, it's the guy from Moonlighting is in this." That's kind of a different role for him.
Yeah, they were selling
action
the
role
movie
for him.
and the sound and the director and yeah.
It's sort of like when Tom Hanks did Saving Private Ryan. You know, it's like, wow, Tom Hanks in a World War II movie?
That's a good point.
I was thinking Tom Hanks in Road to Perdition.
That's a great example of a weird casting choice, but it worked so well for what it was.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, you could have got like a Kurt Russell would have probably been similar. I think he played a similar role in Big Trouble in Little China.
What it was.
What was
Another
that?
film that I need to see.
Nicholas said something and I didn't hear him.
Oh, nothing.
That's all good. No,
It was background noise.
okay.
Oh, okay.
I gotcha. But again, so I watched. We'll still stay on Die Hard 1, I guess, because I did see both of them, so both of them are kind of playing in my head as we're talking. But so the villain Hans is he Hans Gruber? Was that his
Hans
name?
Gruber.
The last name, holy shit! I love that. But no, he is freaking fantastic. He's much better than the villain in the sequel.
Well, this is the movie that made him a star.
Yeah, Alan Rickman.
Yeah, he
I
was
didn't recognize him as
stage actor
Snape.
only at this point.
I did not recognize him as Snape at all. I didn't even see that. It's just a whole different character. Because he is the same guy that plays a Snape.
Well,
right?
and it's like 20 years earlier too.
But yeah, but I mean, to me, like I've only really seen him in probably Harry Potter. That's probably it. I mean, unless he's in other things that I don't know, it's him.
Oh God, he's been in tons of stuff after this.
Like I have no idea what else he's in.
Yeah, he did
off the top of my
everything
head.
from like Oscar bait to Dogma with Kevin Smith.
Oh yeah, Dogma. He was great in Dogma.
Metatron in that, yeah.
Yeah, but no, like I loved it. Just he's got his own little attitude with it, his own accent when he's talking to the
He definitely makes the 80s villains at the time that we had were so cliche, and they were just there for Arnold or Sly to make a quip after they killed him, and they were really cookie cutter. They were generally just the Russian guy or the German guy or the undistinguished Indian terrorist guy, whatever it was, that they had at that time, to where when Hans Gruber came in, and that's why we remember his name. I mean, how many villains in any of those old movies from Stallone and sorts, like Red Heat? Can you name any of the villains in Red Heat? I sure can't.
I can't either.
I can tell you who Hans Gruber is.
Yeah, it's just like Gruber.
And it all has to do with how his character was handled between the direction, the story, and of course, 80% of it was all Alan Rickman. I mean,
Those accents are horrible.
What was that, Christy? I didn't hear. I was talking there.
Sorry, I said those German accents were horrible.
See, I guess to me it was more he's just calm, like calmly speaking, I suppose. So it's just like, everyone be calm. We don't want to have to kill you, but we will if we need to. And he's like,
a very likable character.
It's like, even when the guy is like, hey, man, I know John McClane. I'm going to get you. I can get you, I can get him to stop killing you guys. All right, cool.
Oh, that guy.
He's like, all right. And then he just shoots him in the head. And he's just like, all right.
That's Supergirl's boyfriend.
Oh, no.
That's right. It is, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
From the CW?
The 84 film.
Or the 84 film.
Yeah.
Really? Yep. Wow. And I actually have seen that Supergirl, that old one. So that's funny.
And Hans is like the closest I could compare him to at that time would be like, I mean, even he's even more debonair and suave to be a Bond villain. He's probably the closest would be like Gene Hackman in the Lex Luthor role, because you have a hard time hating Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. Like, as bad as he is, you just fall in love with him, and that's where Hans Gruber is the same way. As bad as he is, you fall in love with him because he's such an attractive character in the way that he carries himself and the way he presents himself and his confidence, like you were saying, Rookie, and the fact that he knows what he's doing. He's manipulating this whole situation, and of course he's making it look like a terrorist attack because that's his whole plot, like you said in the beginning. But really, he's just there for the money.
Yeah, I love that too. It's just like, free our brothers in this place, that place, this place, this place. This guy's like, do you think they're actually going to do it? I don't care. They'll be trying to, make like phone calls and keep him busy for a bit. It's just like,
it's all just a ruse. Yeah.
Another good role for Alan Rickman after that was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yes.
With,
That really catapulted him into stardom.
yeah.
Big
Yep. I don't. Have you seen that movie yet, Rookie?
I've seen a couple of different Robin Hoods. I might have seen that. I don't know.
Kevin Costner is Robin Hood.
What year?
Kevin
Maybe.
Costner's the worst part in his own movie. Otherwise, the rest of the movie's great.
I've seen like the Robin Hood, the Disney one with the animals. I saw the Russell Crowe one. I probably seen the one of the spoofs of it. I don't know.
The Mel Brooks one was mostly a spoof of the Kevin Costner one. Yes, like the one where the shot with the arrow from the arrow's point of view comes from the Kevin Costner one.
Okay.
And also, what's his name from? God, what's the other guy who was with Robin Hood in that one?
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. Yeah, he was in it as well.
Christian Slater and
Christian Slater was in it. Sean Connery at the very end.
Yeah, I definitely have not seen this one. I've definitely not seen that one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That was when Kevin Costner was doing all those that and Dancing with Wolves and all those big artsy films.
Right. Yeah, I still have a lot to catch up on. Don't worry. I'll get around. I finally got to the Die Hard area of classics. So there's something I'm not going to. Tom has witnessed most of my movies I've watched. I'm getting there. I watched.
I think the only one that you surprised me the most on was not liking Alien, but I guess I can understand that to a point because you're not much of a horror fan.
Right.
But you did like Aliens, right? The second one that was
I did. I did, and I even admitted that Alien helped to make Aliens even better than if it was just Aliens by itself. So in a way, it was a weird one for me because I understand why people love it and why it's a good film, but I just didn't enjoy it. I'm just like, I just can't watch it. It is not. It wasn't fun to me. It wasn't interesting to me. There's no surprise to me because I came in so late to it, and I can't just pretend that I am from. I just couldn't pretend with that one. With other ones, I can suspend where I'm at now and do it. I just couldn't there. I was like, no, this came out after Star Wars. This looks really bad.
Now, did you watch the first two Die Hards, or did you watch Die Hard 3 and 4?
Oh God, I didn't have time to.
Okay, because Die Hard 3 is actually the best of the sequels, in my opinion, and it has the most connection with this film.
What?
Yeah,
and it has because it has the original director back. It has no connection with Christmas. It's not all in one place again like the first two films. It doesn't feel like it's a complete retread, and there's a lot of connections. And I don't want to give anything away because it actually takes things a bit farther than the first film.
It does take things a bit farther, and has a great supporting cast. And it wasn't even originally a Die Hard script, which I think was what makes it better. Yeah,
well, neither was 2 and 4, and
that's kind of what I thought was that just based on Die Hard 1 and then they did Die Hard 2, I thought the whole premise was kind of this guy is just trying to do his own thing, and then he just so happens to get caught up into a certain event here or there that ends up going wrong, and it leads into something deeper, and it keeps on escalating, and he's like neck deep in it.
But I feel like part 2 suffers from everything that the 80s and 90s sequels did. And that was, it was exactly the same shit as the first movie, completely redone, nothing new brought to the table. I mean, 2 has some very memorable moments. It's kind of like Lethal Weapon 2 in a lot of ways. The only reason to me Lethal Weapon 2 is even as good as it is or memorable is because of Joe Pesci. Otherwise, the rest.
Yeah, I agree. He was the new addition in the Lethal Weapon series and Lethal Weapon 2, right? He was what made that different, the dynamic.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon 3 finally went and same thing with Die Hard 3. They finally okay, we can't keep redoing the same thing over and over again. And for that reason, I think Lethal Weapon 3 really gave that franchise a boost in the third film for Die Hard too. But then they just kind of waited way too long for the fourth films in each series. Even though Lethal Weapon 4 did well, I think it would have done much better had they got it closer to part 3. Same thing with Live Free or Die Hard. It did okay, but if they'd have got it closer to part 3, it would have done much better, in my opinion. So, but Die Hard 4 though is not as good as Lethal Weapon 4 though. In comparison.
I actually want to get back to that in a second, but Bionic Belly Button asks, Rookie, have you seen Goodfellas? I have no idea what that is.
Favorite all-time movies, man. You have never even heard of it?
I know I've heard of it, but nothing comes to mind. Like good, like the Godfather, something comes to mind. And I still haven't
Martin
seen it.
Scorsese, Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci. One of the greatest movies of all time.
Goodfellas. Like again, I've heard of it, but I just can't think of what it is. I don't know. I don't even know if I put that on my list of movies I haven't seen because I didn't think of it.
That I have, but even if, like when I used to have cable or whatever, and I'm flipping around, I'd watch that whole movie through if I caught it, even in the middle of it.
Absolutely, Tom. I love the movie.
I lost internet. What are you guys talking about?
We were talking about Goodfellas, but yeah, he hasn't seen Die Hard 3, and we were talking about how amazing Die Hard 3 was, especially compared to the second film. But
yeah, that's actually right when I got cut off. I was actually saying that the third Die Hard movie is like a completely different movie from the previous two.
Now, I wouldn't have expected that. I would have kind of thought they'd almost do, okay, now let's do the same thing. Now let's do it in Africa or something.
No, it's good. I mean, not to give any of it away. You don't even get to see John McClane for like 10, 15 minutes, I think it is.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, they set up everything else first?
Yeah, it's like
what?
He's kind of like, it's really, I don't want to give it away because I love Die Hard with a Vengeance.
I see. I was thinking about doing all 5 of the Die Hards. Or is there 6 now? Or
donkey balls.
Is there 6 or 7? How many is there?
There's only 5.
Okay, thank God.
There's too many.
The fourth one was okay, but yeah, it was kind of like I said, if it was 5 years sooner, maybe 10 years sooner, it would have been better. Because you're getting to the.
Well, it wasn't even rated R. The fourth.
No, the PG-13 version sucks ass, and the R version.
Yeah.
Yeah, from what I could tell, I think I saw some of number 4 on TV once. Like it's one of those ones where you're browsing and it's either Fast and the Furious, Transformers, Die Hard, or something that you end up landing on because it's got explosions and stuff going on. And it just looked like it was a choppy, cut up,
it is
explosion-y, fast, shaky cam. It looked like one of those, even though I only watched it for like a few minutes.
Well, and I think that's mostly Bruce Willis's fault, from what I've heard. Bruce Willis, one of those where he got to that point. It was you filmed when he decided you were going to film. When he was done, you were done.
What?
If he didn't want to film something, he just wouldn't. To the point where I guess in Kevin Smith's book, because he's in the movie, they got to his scene that so much exposition had gotten dumped to his scene because Bruce didn't want to do scenes. So Kevin had to rewrite that whole scene just to fit everything in there that they had to dump into it.
Yeah.
Like it was such
I heard about that. Yeah.
And he loved Bruce Willis working on that, so he hired him for Cop Out, and he was like, it was the worst mistake he ever made in his life.
Yeah. Kevin Smith is not a director that can control Bruce Willis.
No, not anymore, especially after Die Hard, I assume. So after that, is that like, did everybody all of a sudden see Bruce Willis as he is the action guy? He's in the ranks of these other huge guys, or was I'm trying to clarify. Was there a subsection of action heroes? Like, so there's the Stallone, the Schwarzenegger, the like big buff.
He was the third guy you just named of all those guys. He would have been the third.
Yeah,
right behind Sly and.
But would he not be in a different category of like like with the James Bond characters or the karate? Nah, I don't know, Karate Kid. Like a different section of action hero that isn't the buff dudes. Or in the movies that made us, they actually said the words they said was that they're looking for an actor that has less toxic masculinity or something. I was like, what? So they picked Bruce Willis.
They're trying to go woke in the 80s.
At that time,
didn't even have that term back then.
At that time he was like not a big action star, but because of Die Hard, he became the third biggest action star at that time.
Yep.
And he got really pigeonholed in that, and that probably is what hurt his career for a while, and that probably what made him real ornery. I mean, that's probable. I mean, with The Sixth Sense and a few other movies, he came back to trying, and I remember another one he tried doing was tried to take it back to comedy with Death Becomes Her, and that was a big flop.
Yep, I remember that.
But then what's the excuse with Hudson Hawk?
That was him trying to do both comedy and action at the same time, and it fell flat on its face. And then he also happened to be in Bonfire, the Valen, how do you say it? Valen, something or other. It was one of the worst movies ever made.
What was that one that Bruce Willis did with Richard Gere where he was the like assassin?
Was
Bruce
that
Willis was an assassin.
Yeah, Bruce Willis was the bad guy. He was
Or
like an assassin.
I know the one you're thinking of. Jackal.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jackal. Yeah. With
Hold on.
That one did okay. He had a few that did okay, but like he had a lot of big bombs in a row, and then he'd have a Die Hard with a Vengeance did all right for him, and
He can just go on knowing he'll get a Die Hard movie every couple of years.
if he had to. I mean, he avoided it more than Sly or Schwarzenegger did until Die Hard with a Vengeance, or I mean Die Hard, Live Free or Die Hard or whatever the hell you want to call it. The fourth one.
Yeah.
Like he avoided doing that fourth one for a long time. And he got lucky with like The Sixth Sense and a few other movies that happened.
Like Sin City, he got lucky with.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one that I really liked that came out in the early 90s with him was The Last Boy Scout.
That was another one that did very well for him.
Yeah.
But I think that was another Joel Silver produced one. So
All right, yeah, another one I haven't seen.
Joel Silver is the guy who's behind a lot of the movies we've talked about as far as the action movies go.
Yeah.
He produced Die Hard, Predator, all that kind of crap. So
Yeah, the Last Boy Scout was Tony Scott was the director, and trying to remember who the producer was. I can't remember, but yeah, that was Damon Wayans, one of his first breakout roles after during or after in Living Color.
Huh.
yeah,
What's your favorite?
Do that show? Go ahead, Chris.
I was sorry. I was going to say, what's your favorite quote from Die Hard? Just the first movie, or can you remember it?
There's a lot of funny stuff in there, I suppose. It's quite a bit.
And it can't be the yippee-ki-yay one.
No, that wasn't my favorite line. That was not my favorite line, to be honest. It was funny, sure, but I thought it was like Chinese.
I was like, "Stop at a coast. Have a few drinks. We'll have a few laughs."
Well,
Yeah.
mine is, it's with the Joseph, it's the Japanese guy, and John is like, some like how you throw a really good party, and he's like, I didn't realize that they celebrated Christmas in Japan. And the Japanese guy, he goes, hey, we're flexible. Pearl Harbor didn't work out, so we got you with tape decks.
Yeah, mine was probably by Hans Gruber, where he is reading the writing on the dead dude's shirt that John McClane wrote on there, where he said, "Now I have a machine gun, ho ho ho."
No, I have a machine gun. Oh. Yeah, that one was pretty funny. There was quite a few funny moments. I think it was kind of funny. The cash register talking to Carl or something. He's like, "Don't you guys eat donuts?" Or something. He's like, "Aren't you supposed to have donuts?" He's like, "No, it's for the wife," or something. Just
and he was like, "Yeah, right."
It was like,
She's pregnant.
I think his line was, "Aren't you guys supposed to eat donuts?" Was his line, and that was pretty funny. I was like, and it's Carl from Family Matters.
Yeah, and then Carl just looked at him. He just looked at him and was like, "Bag it," and he was like, "Yeah, big time."
We have a famous fan theory over on Midnight's Edge After Dark about Carl Winslow.
We will actually
Argyle?
tell us about that in a sec.
Argyle's the cab driver.
Yeah, Argyle, Sergeant Al Powell would be, yeah.
Yeah, Al. Yeah.
Hold on, share that.
His name is only Al Powell now because he had to change it because the black kid that he shot was Urkel.
Oh, what?
yeah.
He feels bad about it.
Hold on. I want to get back
And he
to that.
moved to LA from
His
Chicago.
youngest daughter's missing too, so there's that's kind of outstanding.
Before we get into that, though, I got a $5 super chat from Bionic Belly Button. Thank you very much, Belly Button. She says, "Congrats, Rook, on watching Die Hard 1 and 2. Would you consider adding Goodfellas and Casino to your list?" Oh, yes, that is already done. It is added to the list now because those were not on there before. Man, I'm going to need
What
a new...
about the Breakfast Club?
I mean, that's on the list, but I'm not going to watch that anytime soon. That's just
I
on the
don't
list.
know if you like the Breakfast Club or not.
Like, like, I like the, what was it? The guy
I
that's
like
the
it.
coach in Mighty Ducks that's in there and in that Western or something.
Amelia Western.
Yeah, but
You
it's like,
might
I
be
don't
too
know.
old
Emilio
now to
Estevez.
appreciate that movie, though.
I
That's
just-
a movie you almost have to see as at least.
It's like with Grease or something. I don't care if it was so loved. I don't want to see this type of movie. Like, it's just the teenagers. Yeah, we're gonna do something. We're fooling around, and I don't know. Just not what I really want to do. But what's funny is, hold on, I was gonna bring this up earlier when you said, I remember we were talking about, but it's like with Bruce Willis. Having done his like little commercials or his little TV show things he was on, it's like, what if they had like Zac Efron become the next Bruce Willis? Like some guy you would not expect at all based on what they've done. Become an action star.
Oh, I don't know.
Some have
I don't
tried
know
to
about
make him an
that.
action star, but the projects never take off.
Yeah, I mean, people probably looked at Bruce Willis the same way. So I'm not saying there's not a chance that it could work out, but until I actually saw it, like I can't picture it.
Because that'd just be funny, is all. That's all I'm saying. It's like Zac Efron,
Oh,
the
yeah.
star of High School Musical, is in the next action blockbuster. What?
Well, look how Baywatch turned out.
What?
Yeah,
I don't think it did so well.
Another movie that came out?
yeah, it bombed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was trying to play it up more like, oh, I haven't seen it. I have no idea what you're talking about. No, actually, I haven't seen it though because it looked kind of dumb. But you know.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb. It's a background at a party movie. Yeah, I mean Zac Efron, he was pretty good in 17 Again, which also wasn't a huge movie either.
But it was a really good movie. I did like that movie.
Yeah, I mean I thought it was pretty good. Like Tom Lennon and Matthew Perry were pretty good when Matthew Perry was around, but it's also really dark because nobody cares that Matthew Perry has gone missing.
Right. Now, this list on the screen, since we brought it up a second ago, I need to update people on movies I haven't seen, though I should probably have crossed out a couple of them because I have seen John Wick 1 anyway. I haven't seen the second and third one yet. I have Fury now. My sister just got that for me for Christmas, so, and I do have Fight Club. I have that on DVD, and The Sixth Sense, and The Birds, and Sin City, but I haven't watched any of those yet. I don't know why.
Children of Men is a really good movie. I was really surprised by that movie that I would actually like it.
Yeah, in my intro to cinema class, they showed the scene where it's like all one shot, but they're in the car or something,
Yes.
and they're all spinning it around. That looked pretty cool. But yeah,
You have not seen Rocky or Creed?
You've never seen Rocky?
True Dat.
Oh
I know I have seen some of Rocky 4 because they play that on like FX all the time. Is that the one where he fights the Russian? I will break.
Yeah.
I've seen
that's the fourth
like most of that movie in bits and pieces, but not all at once, like in one sit through.
Oh, and Rocky and that. Oh, wow.
Yeah. What do you guys think of this?
Well,
I don't know what Tom's thoughts are on the
I
Rocky
assume
series.
he's almost like exploding in his chair. Like, I gotta get
Rocky is one of the most solid series you'll ever find. To the fact that by the time you still get to Creed, there's only really like one movie that kind of wavers, and there's really good arguments for said movie, which would be Part 5.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement.
with the street fighting, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Rocky's a pretty solid series. I mean, each film takes a little bit different kind of tone, but you know.
And I really loved Rocky Balboa. That was a good movie.
Yes, yeah.
I would like to check
Creed
out.
2 better than the first one, actually, because I love how it connected back to the Rocky series even more.
Yeah,
It is on Netflix, I think. So I will.
that
Watch
should
Rocky at
should literally, from everything I'm seeing on your list, that should 100% be the next set of movies that you watch.
You want to watch Frozen?
I have not watched it. No.
No, but you want to watch it?
Well, no, but I put movies on here that everyone considers to be classic or popular.
Do you have the
Well,
Godfather?
you're missing.
I've never seen Frozen either.
I mean, because
Neither
everybody
have I.
was raving about those anyway, and I'm like, I don't give a
I've
shit.
seen Frozen. If you've seen every Disney movie, you've seen Frozen.
Yeah.
It's like say that's why I put the Notebook on there. It's like a lot of it's considered popular and everything.
The
so.
Notebook will get you laid. That's about it.
Yeah,
That's
watch
the guy.
Notebook. Watch Notebook when a girl makes you watch it, like I had to.
Oh, and this is just part of the list, guys. I'll scroll down.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna
Oh,
say,
okay.
There's more.
Holy crap.
yeah, okay, now we're getting a little better. Okay, you got the Godfather on
There we
there.
go.
Now, what does the T mean?
T is for trilogy. C
Okay.
is for collection. Like Mission
Oh, okay.
Impossible, there's over 3.
Yeah.
Star Trek, there's a cajillion million things with that.
Uh-huh.
So that's any.
So 12 movies or
Yeah, and
I
the shows
have
and stuff. Yeah.
I have most of these movies on DVD.
I have most of these on Blu-ray, unfortunately, or what? Fortunately,
I have over 2,000 DVDs.
Jesus,
Yeah.
I thought I had a lot at like around 500. Holy shit!
we don't want to get into mine.
I got rid of
I
like
used to have that
35.
many. I had
I've
to.
got doubles and triples and shit that I've never even opened. So
I know, right?
I have a 2 terabyte hard drive full.
Damn, dude.
Oh, I've got an 8 terabyte hard drive full.
you
Damn,
not,
Script.
you've
Damn.
not ever had to sit there. Have you ever had to sit there and explain to a significant other why you have 3 different versions of a movie and they don't understand?
Yeah.
You're like, well, you don't need 3 different ones, but no, you don't understand. This one doesn't have this on it, and this one is better because it has this on it. So I have to keep
Right.
this one to have all these things. It's like just buy one and keep one and get rid of the. No, that's not how it works.
You know what, Tom? I actually understand that now. I used to not get that either, but I get it now because
I
some
have to have
movies-
2 copies of Buffy the Vampire Slayer because one has different music than the other one. Okay.
Yeah, they
Yes, you do.
change so many things now that you don't know which one's the real one, and there's 2 different types, and one is technically better than the other, at least subjectively.
Or they'll remaster it and ruin it.
Right.
So, you
Hey,
know,
Wookie, I got a question.
What
What the hell is 47 hours?
you tell me. I don't know. I think I
It'll
wrote
be 48.
some.
Oh, 48
it's supposed
hours.
to be 48 hours with Eddie Murphy and.
Oh, probably.
Yeah,
I think I think I was going down an IMDb list at that point because I wrote down most of the ones I could think of, and that's why I put.
Your friend and I ain't your whatever. I forget the line.
Well, we'll see. But here's the thing: I pull up 47 hours, and there's actually a movie called 47 hours.
There is one.
I bet, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Die Hard 2
yeah.
is called 58 minutes in French, I think.
That is true because that's what the novel's called.
That's funny.
You've never seen Halloween?
Well, technically I have, but not really. I mean, when when Miss had her Halloween stream on Halloween, we watched Halloween, but I didn't watch it prior. As we were just watching it as it was, and I don't know, I was bored out of my mind. But it was just it was a little more interesting being able to have commentary. But
Yeah.
it was like, I don't know. Again, horror. Like I told Tom before, like I'm just not that big of a horror fan or slasher fan because it's just there's a bunch of people that I don't give 2 shits about that are going to get killed. I don't care. Like,
Then the only
I don't
2
give
movies
2
on that list you're gonna like are probably Nightmare on Elm Street and Hills Have Eyes. And Hills
Yeah.
Have Eyes is probably really gonna.
Like okay, I'll
Hills
I
Have
guess I should-
Eyes is jacked.
I should clarify with Nightmare on Elm Street. I think I've seen the first one, but I don't know because it's at my dad's house in like 2005, maybe. I don't know which ones were all around or playing on TV, maybe at the time. I might have seen some of that one, but not all of it. So I don't know.
So
Friday
how
the
much blood
13th
did you see in Halloween?
Hmm?
How much blood did you see in Halloween, Rookie?
How much blood did I see in Halloween? I don't remember.
Yeah, this is a trivia question.
Was there blood? I don't remember.
No, there wasn't.
I mean, the blood factor doesn't matter to me. It's just
I know.
That movie would so
Yeah.
be rated PG if it was out today if it wasn't for the tits.
it was just it was just it almost was like a comedy but boring. Like
It was, but I asked people, I'm like, well, how much blood did you see? They're like, I saw so much blood, I can't believe it.
Halloween is one of those, if you got to watch it with context.
Mm-hmm.
You really need to be able to hear the music.
it's just
Yeah.
I don't know, because it's like, oh, this kid, like, you know, he done killed someone, and then he grows up and he just kind of walks out of the prison, and then just there you go.
Now, have you seen Black Christmas yet, Brooke?
No, and that is not,
Because that's what inspired
is
Halloween.
that a new
technically.
movie? What? Wait, what?
No,
Well, they did remake it for the second time, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
it's
a
out in theaters right now.
inspired Halloween. Yeah.
The second remake.
Mhm.
I've not heard of Black Christmas until recently. I have no idea what that is.
Friday
It's
the
the first
13th.
movie that had the perspective camera thing that you get in Halloween. Bob Clark was the guy who came up with that.
Okay. Real quick though, another $2 super chat from Bionic Belly Button. Thank you again, Miss Belly Button. Says the Notebook is absolute trash.
Oh,
I
wow.
wouldn't know. I haven't
Good
seen
job, Bionic Belly Button.
Oh, woman after my own heart.
There you go.
Yeah.
it. Yep. See now she played the reverse. That's a way into a man's heart.
Yeah.
He's saying that the
You can
Notebook.
watch Silence of the Lambs, though. You got to watch all the rest of them too.
What do you mean the rest of them? Is
There's a
Silence of the
lot.
Lamb in a
Yeah.
series?
Well, there's a prequel.
Oh Jesus.
There's
Yeah.
two prequels, technically.
Technically,
Yeah.
Enter the Dragon, and then which are basically the same story. But then you also have the sequel Hannibal.
Yep.
But you forget about the other prequel Hannibal, the other one.
Rookie, I thought you said you didn't want to watch The Breakfast Club, but it's literally number 26 on this list.
No, Christy, did you hear me? I said that I just wrote down ones that are popular, and
Oh,
these are not ones that I want to
$1 Million Baby's a bit
Everyone's-
overrated.
These are ones
Yeah.
that everyone else wants me to see.
That's one of
I want you, Rookie, I want you to see the Tom Hanks comedy, The Burbs.
great.
Oh, that movie's
Because-
hilarious.
Oh my
I love
god,
that
that's a
movie.
hilarious movie.
The neighbor in Tom Hanks, the guy who plays Art, I think he's the same character that's in Die Hard who doesn't want to shut down the electrical grid. I just like imagining them as the same character.
See, Will Gentry in the chat agrees with me. Slashers are kind of boring. See, to me, actually, I think it depends on the execution. It's like if I don't even know it's a horror, if I don't know if it's going to be a slasher movie, I think that I'm trying to get invested into the characters, and they're actually doing things to make me actually care about them, then that'd be a little different. I'd be like, hey, whoa, you're about to kill these dudes. Hey, what the hell? Like in Tremors, for example, Val and Earl, they're technically in danger for a while, but you don't really know until later as they're slowly discovering things, and it's like, yeah, these dudes are all right, and then they're in danger from getting killed by giant worms. So it's like, okay, if they replaced the worms with the slasher, I'd be more invested in them. That'd be a more interesting slasher film because I care about the main characters.
Yeah, see, and you get that in certain movies. There's two different kinds of slasher films. There's the kinds that are good in spite of the genre, and then there's some that are just completely playing to the genre, and that's all they're doing.
Yeah.
And those are the ones where you're really not going to find much in them. But now, like Halloween came out before it was really a genre. Now, Friday the 13th, on the other hand, you'll get a few of them in between there that are decent, and most of them, the ones that are decent, are because of the kids. And that's what you're talking about, is where you actually get to know some of these characters, and they're decent actors, and you kind of get to like them before they get killed. Nightmare on Elm Street, though, is probably the one that stands above and beyond, especially as far as character-wise goes.
Yeah.
It's more of a fantasy horror than it is anything else, and it has very strong characters.
Yeah, that at least has a premise that I can get behind. It's like in your mind, kind of, and it's like that's a little more creepy because it's like he's not just out walking around the street trying to kill you; he's in your head.
Right.
Yeah.
I do like that factor.
And it's borderline comedy, literally.
Well, in
Because
some aspects, yeah.
I remember I was like in the second or third grade, and I remember begging my parents to rent Nightmare on Elm Street, and my dad finally rented the Nightmare on Elm Street 3 for me. And as a third grader, I watched it and I loved it, and had Freddy Krueger posters in my room. Like I wasn't scared or like anything,
That was close to about the time I got into it too. But once you got to Nightmare 3 and 4, Freddy's cracking wise, and
Yeah.
Right.
The fourth one was probably my favorite, and then probably the third one was probably my second favorite. I really liked the fourth one.
So, is there any movies on here that you guys would go, you don't really need to see that?
Million
Alien 3 and 4.
Well, I don't know.
Winter's Bone.
That was on the top IMDb list. That's why I put that on there.
Oh, and
I would
also
go,
sorry,
No.
Go
I was gonna say if you watch Black Swan, don't watch it high. Allegedly.
I've surprisingly never smoked.
Okay, good. Or edible, allegedly.
I will probably do that soon. My Marine buddy is eating edibles lately, and he's like, "I'll bring some over next time." So,
Man of Steel, you don't need to see that garbage.
Man of Steel,
Unless you talk to
Lethal
Jeremy.
and Ryan and everybody.
Well, Jeremy hates it too. Ryan likes it though. Ryan Cannell.
Oh yeah, Ryan.
Scroll back up. I can't remember what else you had up there. There's probably a few above them. You could probably-
And again, so I'll tell you the ones that I own on DVD that I just haven't gotten around to watching yet. I do have a Fight Club. I have The Sixth Sense, The Birds.
Oh.
I think Fight Club.
I do have Pulp Fiction up on Netflix, and same with Watchmen. But I'm actually
I
waiting.
don't see
to see
Cape Fear on there.
Don't see what?
Which
Cape Fear.
No, I didn't put that on there.
I don't know if you're gonna like.
Sherlock.
Sherlock.
You have Sherlock Holmes. Which one?
You
There's
mean
so
the-
many.
I think it's the Robert Downey Jr. one.
Oh, okay.
Blade Runner, you may not like. Taxi Driver, you're probably not gonna like.
Did you
don't
watch
have King of
Joker?
Comedy?
I did watch Joker. I love Joker.
You should watch King of Comedy because there's some.
You
Crossover
might like
between that and
you might
Taxi
like
Driver.
Taxi Driver then, but
Yeah.
Did you ever see Clerks, the original Clerks?
yeah, you gotta have Clerks on there. All the Kevin Smith movies should be on.
No, I realized after I made this is only like 150 movies. There's plenty that I
Oh yeah.
did not
Yeah,
write
that's
on
just
here.
strapped to the surface.
But it's like I can only write down what I kind of know and then what I find, and if they're not on that list, then-
Honestly, I didn't think those Sherlock Holmes movies were anything that stupendous. But that's just me.
yeah.
You should watch the Naked Gun and Airplane series.
Yeah, like, those old parody.
Yeah,
I
those are
think
pretty
I
funny.
swear I might have seen Naked Gun. I might.
Any parody movie made before Scary Movie or Not Another Movie is probably good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pre 1994.
Yeah, anything after that, don't.
You want to know what's funny though? I enjoyed some of the older spoofs like Spaceballs and stuff at the same time that I enjoyed Scary Movie, not the Scary Movie, like Epic Movie and stuff. But it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
I think that was just a phase because I cannot stand it now. Like I can't even.
They're designed for
All
like
they do is go kind of.
7-8-year-old boys to snicker with their friends.
They try to be gross and they think that's funny and they just hey.
No, they're playing to a
You
specific
recognize
crowd.
it.
They know exactly what
Yeah.
they're doing.
It's like
They're
isn't it funny?
Very lowbrow crowd.
No, it's almost like how they do modern cameos in movies today. It's like it's just hey, look, you remember that? Hey.
Exactly.
And it's like
If you want to
Yeah.
see some parodies, see like Airplane, see Blazing Saddles, see Spaceballs.
Young Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein needs to be.
I
on
have
there.
seen Young Frankenstein, yeah, Spaceballs. I have seen some of those. So
Okay, yeah, those are better ones. Anything Mel Brooks, anything Zucker Brothers, anything. Who's the other ones that were pretty big at that time? Help me out here, Script Doctor.
Oh, crap. I got one on the tip of my tongue. He wrote. It's funny. He wrote Striptease, which is actually a very funny movie.
Oh,
He also wrote the first draft of Blazing Saddles that I've been trying to find for years because Alan Arkin says it's funnier than what Mel Brooks put together. Crap. Bergman, maybe? Let me double check.
I don't know, but there's a couple.
Check this
Are you talking about the original Striptease or the one from the?
all right, now we're on to the movies that I have seen, so you guys can take a little breather of relief.
Bill and Ted. What'd you think of Bill and Ted?
Oh, dude, that is one of my. When I was younger, I liked it, but it wasn't one of my favorites. Thinking about it now, though, it was. It's such a type of gem where it's like I don't normally like the "yo, bro, excellent" type of things, but only with them do I enjoy it.
It's
Like,
because
I'm
they're
like,
not
yes.
threatening and they're nice and they love everything.
Yeah. Oh, Andrew Bergman. Check him out. He's
Okay, yeah.
that's what I was thinking of.
Excellent.
He did The In-Laws, which is hysterical with
Okay, yeah.
Peter Falk and Alan Arkin. Did Fletch, which is the first one's not bad.
The second one's not horrible, but yeah.
It's not horrible, but it's
Definitely
just not
better.
the same. And also, Chevy Chase is kind of phoning it in way more than he normally does in that one.
I think he just made it for the paycheck, definitely.
Yeah.
Now I know you've seen. Now I know I watched Karate Kid. Well, we did the watch party thing. Jaws, you said you weren't a huge fan of, which I
Right.
can understand.
I do love
alright.
the opening scene of Jaws. That is wonderful.
Jaws is another one of those like Goodfellas that it's just Jaws. I mean,
Yeah.
it was the first movie I ever saved up money for and rented on my own.
Right. Yeah. Is there any of these that you guys are surprised that I've seen based on the other list?
I don't know about surprised.
I mean,
Being John Malkovich.
yeah, that was actually the first film in my intro to cinema class that I picked out. Just because I recognized it. There's a whole list of films I'd never heard of before. I was like, I've heard of John Malkovich. He's that one actor dude that was in Con Air. I'll pick that one. That was a weird ass movie, man. That was I had no idea why, what, but I was glad I saw it.
You have a lot
All
of
right,
films there.
There's a Russian movie you should see just because it'll shatter your amazement of the long take, which is called The Russian Ark. It's a feature-length film all done in one take, and it's really just to remind filmmakers that sometimes a long one-take shot is not really as important as telling a good story. But it is a really good movie.
Okay, I'll check that out.
I got a question for you, Rookie.
All right, go ahead.
So, all right, so you've seen the Blade trilogy.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts?
And I've also seen some of the TV show they had.
All right, so what are your thoughts of Marvel bringing Blade back, but not bringing Wesley Snipes back?
I don't care if they brought him back or anyone else back. I don't think that they'll handle him very well. It's just that it seems like one of those characters that I don't think they would know how to do at all. It would just be really cheesy. Kind of, it'd be almost Arrowverse-y, I imagine. Like, oh, is that what you're doing? Okay, that's what I think.
Yeah, because the Blade movies with Wesley Snipes aren't. I can guarantee you, will be nothing like what Marvel's going to do. Like the Blade movies with Wesley Snipes was R-rated. They're like pretty hardcore, violent and graphic, and like that's the movie, the Blade movies that everybody loved. I really question what they're going to do with Blade moving forward.
Right. I mean, it'd be cool if they did something interesting with it, but I mean, hard to say. Have any of you guys seen Back to the Beach?
Yes.
I'm surprised. Nice. This is one of the ones that not many people have seen.
I have not. I
I've
don't
seen
even know what that
some
is.
rumors.
It's a pseudo sequel off of the old beach movies from the 60s. It's very 80s, and it's got Pee Wee Herman, I guess, guests in it.
Yeah, he's
First
one of the
scene.
cameos, the Love Boat guy.
Yep. You've got Gilligan's Island. Some Gilligan's Island cast members are in there.
Yeah, band Skipper, isn't it? Briefly as a cameo. I actually don't know the names of anyone in it really, other than the cameos. But it's
I can't remember the names either.
but I'm gonna watch it
it's
at
like-
some point and do a review because it was a good little movie back then. I watched that as a kid and liked it.
Oh wait, it's got Lori Lawton in it as the daughter, and I remember that because earlier this year, for the first time, my girlfriend at the time showed me Full House, and I recognized her from Back at the Beach, and that was the show that ended our relationship.
Oh no!
Oh wow!
It was I just could not stand it, and she loved it. It was just like, and I jokingly said, "Well, I can't be your boyfriend anymore." She took it seriously, and that started a whole thing. So,
Oh no!
I got a new girlfriend now. I like better.
That's
What about the Lost Boys?
okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Back to the Beach, by the way.
Oh, you have. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was away for a second there.
Yeah, I figured you're doing your food. The Lost Boys. Is that an older one or?
No.
80s film. Kiefer Sutherland.
No, I don't think I have.
Oh, good movie.
Yeah.
with Jason Patrick, the Coreys.
Alex Winter.
Yeah.
No idea.
Who's the chick that she was? I don't know her name.
I don't know who plays Star, if that's who you're talking about.
That's him. That's him.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but yeah, Alex
Yeah.
Winter's Bill from Bill and Ted.
Yep.
You should know who Kiefer Sutherland is.
I've heard of the name, but I don't.
24, Jack Bauer.
Designated Survivor.
Lost Boys.
Stand By Me. Have you seen that one?
His father's Donald Sutherland.
Uh,
His grandfather is Tommy Douglas, not an actor, but just a politician.
no,
He was in Young
Stand By
Guns.
Me right there in front of my
Western.
list. These are the ones
There was
you've
a
seen,
kid.
right?
well, yeah, but I don't recognize the.
Who's the main bad guy in Stand By Me?
Okay. All right. I hardly
Yeah.
remember that guy, but I remember the four boys in it. I don't remember the villain.
Young Guns.
Young
Yeah,
Guns.
he's in Young Guns. He played Doc in Young Guns.
Eh,
You haven't seen Young Guns?
no, I've never heard of that
You
one.
need to add that to the list.
Flatliner. Have you seen the original Flatliners, not the remake? Oh, of course, I think he makes a cameo in the remake. But
I have no idea what you're talking about.
no, all right. That one's we're gonna have to mark that up as a
Oh no, there should be an
Brooke,
intervention.
why are you making a list? We should make the list for you.
That's actually a good idea. I actually kind of want that to be a thing because there's so many movies that I haven't seen that I don't know that are really good, and I don't want to go by the IMDb.
Police Academy's on there.
Like I don't want to go by the IMDb thing. Wait,
What about Return of the Living Dead?
I have seen a lot of zombie movies, so it's possible. But
That's my favorite movie where it's the Tar Man where they're just like brain, send more
Basically,
cups.
yeah, parody of all the Night of the Living Dead movies.
Yeah.
Omega Man. Is Omega Man on there? I didn't see that.
I did not put that on there. This is on the list I've seen. I have not seen that one.
You have no Heston on there.
Okay, and there are movies. Okay, I'll clarify too. There are movies that I've seen that are not on here, but I didn't put on there that like.
Which Planet of the Apes?
I've seen every one of them except for the old TV show.
Yeah, have you seen the ones with Heston? Get you.
Going by the actors, I don't know.
You damn
There's the
dirty ape.
there's the older one, and there's the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, the Under the Planet of the Apes or something.
You gotta watch the classic with Charlton Heston first.
No, that's what I'm saying. I've seen the older ones, just not the TV show.
Okay.
Like I just don't know what they were called because there was like 5 names and I don't remember their names.
That's your name. You just made that.
Have you seen Top Gun?
Not quite. this would
I
be a
thought
fun.
you watched that.
What?
I thought you watched Top Gun.
No, I was gonna watch Pulp
Tom
Fiction.
Cruise, Val Kilmer.
Top
The
Gun.
sequel's coming out this next summer.
Oh, Top Gun. Oh, with
Speaking of Val Kilmer, I didn't see Willow on either one of these lists.
wait a second. That's
Yeah,
Top
Willow.
Gun. The
Oh yeah, Willow. Fantasia.
I don't see Top Secret
Not
on this list
Fantasia.
either.
yeah, I
Or
was
Real
never-
Genius.
I never really cared for Tom Cruise.
Oh, we're talking about Val Kilmer now. Fuck Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise has made 3 good movies. That's about it. And
I mean, like,
What are your which one's Tom?
Rain Man,
Yes.
Mhm.
Color of Money,
hmm
Yes.
and Mission Impossible 1 with honorable
John
mention
Voight. Yeah.
Jerry Maguire.
You didn't like Legend, Tom?
It's not one
I
of the
liked
best. It's a tough watch.
Yeah.
the first Mission Impossible movie, but it completely deviates from everything in a way, doesn't it?
Yeah, like I said, Will Gentry. At least a honorable mention for Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
No, his best movie is probably Rain Man, and he's not the best part of it. So his best part is when he's freaking out, as always. That's what Tom Cruise is good at. Give him something to rip apart and throw a fit about, and he's
Actually, I'm surprised he hasn't done more comedies after his bit in Tropic Thunder, because that was probably one of his better ones.
I was just getting ready to say that his performance in Tropic Thunder was pretty epic.
Rookie, have you seen Tropic Thunder?
Yes, I have, baby.
Okay.
Oh, what was it? What was his line? That they have him say, Ben Stiller as the retard.
Oh,
Don't go full retard.
I know it.
No, like he's like it makes me think of Holes, and he's like, the duck may swim on the lake, but my daddy owned the lake, or something. It was something else they had Ben Stiller say. I don't remember his line.
I know what you're talking about.
Because they make him replay the character, and he like has a catchphrase or a known quote or something in his movie, and it's funny. I don't remember.
In Tropic Thunder?
Yeah. I don't remember.
I know what you're talking about.
But
as a character, but I can't remember the line either.
Yeah, I can't remember.
And you guys call yourself movie people.
Do you know how long it's actually been since I've seen that?
I know.
movie?
I'm kidding. You guys have
7
seen
years
so
for
many.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been a long time for me too.
Christy with her 2,000 films at her house, yeah, in my 500.
See, Tropic Thunder has a problem of if it wasn't for two things in that movie, that it would fall completely under everybody's radar and nobody would remember it. And it was just because of Tom Cruise and because of Robert Downey Jr. And not only that, he got Oscar nomination for that. And then how many years later here, everybody's freaking out because he's playing blackface.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, that was the joke, is the fact that people were freaking out in the movie that he's playing blackface.
Yeah, it was a funny because
What do you mean, you people? What do you mean, you people?
I know who I am. I'm the dude playing the dude disguised as another dude. You don't know which dude you at.
what do you guys think of the old Police Academy movies?
I love them.
I enjoyed them too.
Love them.
I love them too. What do you think if they were gonna do more of those now? I mean, I already felt like they had like 7.
We've already talked about this on After Dark, and we've said bring them back. Do it. Do what you do is you get as many. See, this is why the first ones worked. Is because they got the best people from Saturday Night Live and SCTV together, like the lower level side people, and got some really strong, lead actors in like Steve Guttenberg and
Kim Cattrall and
who played Commandant Lassard. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh God, I know who you're talking about too, but
He
I
just
can't remember.
passed away not that long ago too.
Yeah.
Well, he was on Punky Brewster. What the hell's his name?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch, what's his name?
Anyway, you had such a great, strong leading cast to lead up to play, off these comedians. And that's what you can do now today. You bring all the older cast back as like the Commandant and all that stuff. It doesn't have to be a sequel. It's just you pick up years later. And now Mahoney is, the like heading up, training everybody. And you have
is Michael
character playing the Commandant now instead, and you have Proctor as his second in command still, and
Hightower doing his thing.
Well, Hightower, I think he's dead, unfortunately.
Is Michael Winslow still alive? The guy
Michael Winslow still
yeah.
lives.
George Gaines, that was Commandant
George
Lassard.
Gaines, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
You got to have so you have G.W. Bailey or C.W. Bailey or whatever his name is, who played
Lieutenant Harris.
Yeah, you have him be the new Commandant, but you have Mahoney as your head of training everybody, and you can bring back what's her face, Leslie.
What about Tackleberry?
Tackleberry passed away many years ago, actually, unfortunately.
Yeah,
he
he was
did?
really fun.
Yeah, he was really young.
Good character actor.
Some heart condition or something or other, I think.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, but yeah, you bring anybody back who's still alive, and if you can even get Bobcat back, get his ass back there too.
See, if they were to do a modern one of Police Academy, it sucks too that Michael Clark Duncan's also dead, because he would have been a contender for Hightower, I would think.
Like Hightower Jr. Oh, yeah, you can find somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it's hard to really find the chops.
And that's really what you do. Yeah, you have a couple characters who are like related to maybe one or two of the other ones, but you don't need it. Other than that, you just get a bunch of young, funny comedians together, and you just have a new recruits, and
right. I guess I think that they could do it, but I don't really trust modern studios to really be able to do it. That's worth it. I feel like they'll do it like how they do a lot of movies now, where it's just Oh, is this reference?
Well,
They'll do it like a 21 Jump Street take, I think. Yeah.
as diverse a cast as Police Academy was, all the jokes had to do with the fact of how diverse everybody was. So you will have that issue involved.
Hmm.
Right.
You know.
Well, it's like there's like the scenes where there's like ladies changing in their locker room and they're like looking through the window. They're like, hey, and the
Only the first one was rated R.
Yeah.
yeah.
The rest were way sillier. I mean, the concept alone is just like there's
Wait,
no
wait,
requirements to
rated
be a
R?
cop now. That was like the best.
It was rated R.
Yeah.
Just
What?
the first one.
Yeah, just the first one.
What,
Yeah, there's nudity.
dude? That
There's
movie
even
is
a
like
couple of foul languages in there as well.
Because
That
they were trying to, they probably because they sold it as basically Animal House in a police academy.
it seemed like it'd be perfectly like airable on TV as without anything censored.
Well, what they found out is that kids really liked it, and that's when they started taming it down.
and then they made a cartoon show out of it.
What's the name of the guy with the voice that's
That's
crazy?
Bobcat Goldthwait. Yeah.
Bobcat.
Who's that guy?
Bobcat.
Bobcat Goldthwait.
Is
Yeah,
he
he's
still
a comedian. He was actually on Joe Rogan's show.
He directs more than anything now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he directed the Robin Williams film with The World's Greatest Dad, which I thought was a great movie.
Yeah, he's done a lot of movies, and he directs a lot of shows now, a lot of live TV. Like he's done Kimmel for years, and he did. I don't know if he still does, but he did Real Time with Bill Maher and a bunch of other shows like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the guy who plays Al Bundy and Married with Children would be an interesting cast.
Ed O'Neill?
Yeah, Ed O'Neill. He'd be kind of funny in a Police Academy movie, maybe.
He's a commedia dell'arte and mime comedian. He's got a lot of good. I mean,
Yeah, you
I
can
don't
have
think that's
like
physical stuff
Mayor
anymore.
like that. Yeah.
He's got good subtle humor. He's not just in your face with the joke. He just whatever he's doing is kind of funny.
Well, yeah, I think Script Doctor. I think that's who said it. And that's the whole hook of the movie is that it was based on the idea that at that time they could no longer discriminate
Based on physical health to be a cop. It was basically it doesn't matter who you are,
Grades,
where you're from.
everything, Yeah.
You could be a cop, and the joke was that the old guard of the police officers were upset by this because it's like, well, we need responsible people who can be trained, who are physically fit and able to do the job. And the new mayor is like, no, I mean, you don't see this on camera. It's all done through a crawl.
Right.
But the new mayor is like, no, anyone should be able to be a cop. And so you get this ragtag team of losers joining the academy, and then they end up having to quell a riot in Kensington Market, Toronto.
And I loved
That-
that riot scene, how it all started and just how it all escalated and everything. That was
Well, I think
brilliant.
the first film gets overlooked big time.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets shuffled into that Animal House wannabe category when it was one that kind of stood up above the rest, and I don't know, it gets a bad rap.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I
Steve Gutenberg, you definitely would need to bring him back because I remember when they got.
He is available.
I remember when they got to Police Academy 5, I think it was, where Gutenberg was not in it.
Yeah, he
It
quit
was
after
the one- yeah, it was the ones that he wasn't in where it really started going downhill.
Yeah.
And speaking of Steve Gutenberg, I don't know if you've seen Cocoon or Short Circuit.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, gotta get those.
Rookie, if you haven't seen Cocoon or Short Circuit, definitely need to add those to the list.
I feel like I've possibly seen Cocoon. What was that about?
Aliens
Cocoon?
that are
One
disguised.
of Ron Howard's first directorial movies.
Yeah,
Like it's third or second.
Got Wilford
Mhm.
Brimley in it.
yeah, tons of good actors. But there's basically an old folks' home, and the aliens are in these cocoons that have been in the ocean, on the ocean floor, and the aliens that came back to Earth or came back to basically rescue them, and they keep them in this pool. And
That sounds cool. No, I have not seen that.
yeah. But Steve Gutenberg is basically the boat captain, and they actually rent the boat from him, and he actually takes them out there. He has no clue what they're doing, no clue what they're bringing up, or anything like that. and he doesn't realize that they're aliens,
And
he
I
ends
think
up.
Raquel Welch's daughter's in it too.
Yeah, yep.
Well,
And
he didn't do the 5th Police Academy is because he was making Cocoon: The Return.
yeah, the second Cocoon movie, but yeah, it's you definitely need to put that on your list of movies to watch for sure.
He actually backed out at the last minute, I believe, from Police Academy 6.
Yep,
Oh,
he did.
If I remember right, they rewrote it for that one dude who played Commandant Lassard's nephew or whatever.
Yep.
They rewrote his part in the 6th film, yeah.
Now what the
That
hell
was
is
the 5th film, I think, yeah. Or maybe that was the deal with the 5th film. Maybe that's what it was.
what is Porky's?
Oh,
Are you
serious?
Have you seen
I have no
American Pie?
I have no idea what everyone's referring
Have you
to.
seen American Pie?
Yeah, but like
Have you seen Sex Drive?
yeah, like in
Okay, then
middle
and
school, like,
basically all those movies wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Porky's.
Yeah.
wait. Is that
It's
like
got
an
Janos
80s
from Ghostbusters 2 in it as a character.
like an
not as
80s
Janos.
American Pie or something? Like I don't know.
Basically, yeah, it's like the first time they did that. It's the first time you had this movie about a bunch of horny teenagers just trying to get laid.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it revolves around this horror house called Porky's.
Yeah.
And I know
And it's a bunch of pervs in
the
it.
thing about Porky's is it's the most perverted family film you'll ever see.
Yeah.
It is,
It's a very good description of it.
Yeah.
and it's like American Pie in that sense that it is so fucking wholesome that at the same time, the fact that when you start to explain what it's about and some of the scenes that happen in the film, you're just like, how is this the same movie?
Okay, I think after today, I'm sorry that I turned this into a whole classic movie stream.
Oh, no.
That's all right.
I like the conversation and I like hearing these different movies, but it's like I think one of these days I should set up a stream where the whole goal is to literally add to my list of movies to watch because
Porky's
apparently
would have been before Fast Times at Ridgemont.
apparently my list wasn't big enough.
But
I need to-
Your list should be at least 6 digits long.
I believe Porky's was directed by the same guy who did A Christmas Story, believe it or not.
oh wow, and I have seen that. I've seen that.
And some of the movies that we've mentioned tonight should definitely replace some of the ones that you have on your list.
Yes, that I'll agree.
Yeah.
Probably if I were to go redo it, I'd take like Winter's Bone off and.
But yeah,
Breakfast.
the other big thing about Porky's that everybody remembers is the hole in the wall to the girls'
Showers.
shower room.
Yeah.
That's what that movie is most well known for.
Oh, and Kim Cattrall barking.
yes, and Kim Cattrall.
Christy's like, yeah, that's one of her favorites.
Yes.
Porky's is amazing.
Yeah.
It's-
It's an 80s movie, but it almost has like that late 70s movie feel to it.
Well, it's a period piece. It actually takes
Yeah.
place
in the
in the early
50s.
60s, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah.
There's also a sequel called Porky's Revenge.
Yep.
There's actually 2 sequels. There's Porky's
Oh.
2 the next day, and then Porky's Revenge. Yeah,
Right, yes.
Um,
Which one is the one where Meat has to marry Porky's niece?
I think that's the third one.
Okay.
I think
yeah.
that's why you remember that. It's because you probably skipped. I think the second one's. I think the third one's actually better than the second. I can't remember now. It's been a while. I have them, but I haven't watched them in a while.
I have not seen them in years.
What about Revenge of the Nerds?
That's another classic. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
when in 2011 when I first got Netflix, I think I at least watched half of one. I was watching some National Lampoon stuff because some of that was available. I think I had the DVD and streaming one, and I'd go back and forth. And I did see a few National Lampoon movies. I think that's one of them, right?
Yeah.
You saw
Revenge
the one where they went to Wally World, right?
No, no, I've
National
not.
Lampoon's Vacation. You've never seen that one either.
That's the
I
best.
thought we've been through this a million times.
Okay. First of all, there's only like 5 National Lampoon movies that are worth a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get that out of the way first.
You're probably not wrong. There's like 20 that were.
There's
they
a bunch
made.
of garbage ones where they were just really crappy movies and they just slapped the National Lampoon name on them.
Yeah, National Lampoon bought them for basic distribution and stuff. Yeah.
And there's a bottom of the barrel, like
Yeah.
Lampoon.
National Lampoon was like the comedy version of Trauma for like the late 90s and early 2000s.
Which is sad because Animal House itself, their first movie they did was like such a massive hit.
Caddyshack.
It actually changed the entire campus life. That was
That had a
What?
lot of the people involved. You had a lot of people that went from Animal House to Caddyshack, but National Lampoon's Animal House at the time when it came out, I want to say it made almost $100 million in 1978 when it came out.
Wow.
Unheard of.
I'm just clarifying. Animal House. That does
Tim
not have
Matheson.
Rob Schneider in it, right?
No.
No, that's
No.
the animal.
John Belushi,
Tim Matheson,
Tim Matheson.
Donald Sutherland's in it.
Karen Allen.
Karen.
I don't think I've seen
Karen
Animal
Allen.
House.
Oh, you got to put Animal House on there then. Animal
Yeah,
House is like the beginning of the 80s comedy. It came out in the 70s, but it was because of Animal House is why we got everything from Porky's to Police Academy to, all the way up through. Yeah, anything through there. Oh, Back to School was another surprise hit.
Back to School. Oh, Kentucky Fried Movie's okay. It's
Yeah,
a sketch film.
That sounds like something I'd watch.
That one, I don't know. Yeah, that one's a bit off. I don't know if you'll get into that one or not. That one's But no, as far as National Lampoon's movies, you got to see Animal House, you got to see Vacation, you got to see Christmas Vacation, and you got to see at least Loaded Weapon 1, and if anything, maybe European Vacation.
I think I have Loaded Weapon. I think that was part of a 4-movie pack of something, and Loaded Weapon was on there. I think
Loaded Weapon was the last good National Lampoon movie.
Is that supposed to be the spoof of Lethal Weapon?
Yeah, it's a parody of Lethal Weapon. Senior Trip was okay too, but I don't think Senior Trip was meant to be. I think Senior Trip was one of those first ones that was never meant to be a National Lampoon movie.
Senior Trip was a Chorus Entertainment film, and I know that because I was an extra kid on there, but
There
I was
you
not
go.
in the movie.
Cool.
I got to
Well,
meet
what's
Tara
funny-
Strong before she was kind of crazy.
She's in that, but what's really funny is a young Jeremy Renner's in that movie.
Yes, he is.
Oh, wow.
What
I've
about the
seen-
Golden Child?
I've seen Home Alone 3 where there's a young Scarlett Johansson.
Well, you pretty much have to watch every Eddie Murphy movie except for Don't Worry About Norbit or what's that other one we did?
I actually have seen a lot of Eddie Murphy films. I just
Well,
I guess
actually,
I haven't seen
Pluto
Cla-
Nash is quite clever, but it's a very different type of movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen his classics still. Like I've seen his Dr. Doolittle's. I've seen his Daddy Daycare. I've seen his.
Oh, you've seen
Trading Spaces.
You need to see Trading Places. You need to see Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2. You need to see
Well, Christy said Golden Child a minute ago. That's an
Golden Child,
awesome movie.
Golden Child.
yeah, think of it. And then you also need to see anything that he did in the early through anything through the 80s into the mid 90s, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think those were his comedian days. I assume where he was.
Pretty much.
More
Yeah, once he hit Beverly Hills Cop 3 and in the vampire movie, he didn't want to be a comedian anymore. Like that's why
Yeah.
I watched his early stand-up.
And George
Yeah.
Lucas is in
Boomerang, you know.
Beverly Hills Cop 3.
What was that, Script Doctor?
George Lucas is in Beverly Hills Cop
Yeah.
3. Like,
Well, there's a lot of directors in Beverly Hills Cop 3. That's
Yeah.
because John Landis directed it. Speaking of
Yeah.
well,
Kentucky Fried
not
Movie.
really directed. He was there. I don't know if anyone directed that movie.
Yeah, and Blues Brothers too, which is on the screen right now. He also directed. Well, he did, but here's the interesting story I heard about Beverly Hills Cop 3. Eddie Murphy told them he didn't want to do comedy anymore, so he wanted Beverly Hills Cop 3 to be more a straight action movie. So they actually told the writers to make Eddie Murphy funny without him knowing it.
Oh God. Yeah, that
And then
movie
they
was
shot it like a
terrible.
television show.
Yeah, it was a mess. And well, the weird thing is it also hinged on Murphy and Landis making up too, because there's a famous story that goes all the way back to it's in our Ghostbusters documentary, because Eddie Murphy made a joke on the Arsenio Hall show because him and Landis had gotten into an argument while making Coming to America, and he vowed never to work with Landis again. So Arsenio brought it up, of course. I don't know why, which was stupid on Arsenio's part. But
He did that for
Murphy,
ratings.
yeah, well, I don't think he expected Eddie to go here was why. I figured he was just going to say the typical BS. But then Murphy went down the road and he's like, yeah, Landis has more of a chance with working with Vic Morrow again than he does with me. And that was a bad thing to say because Vic Morrow died making the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
And there was this big whole hullabaloo about it, and it was like a really off color, like, ooh, you did not just say that, did you, Eddie joke kind of thing. And I mean, he apologized later, and they worked together again, I think, a couple times since then.
Well, that's because Landis and Reitman were friends at that time. Well, a spotty friendship at that time. There was some controversy with regards to actually National Lampoons because Reitman was involved with that as well. And he kind of did more on that movie than Landis did. And Landis got the credit.
Yeah, well, Landis is one of those I've heard a lot of weird story. But here's the thing is Landis wasn't even on the set when the accident happened. He just happened to be the director of the segment. And so he was pulled into the whole thing, but he had little to nothing to do with it. And in the end, they found, I believe it was the stunt company was found liable for the not preparing
proper preparation. Yeah.
It was a really sad situation because not only Vic Morrow, but 2 kids ended up dying too. And it was just one of those things where Eddie really shouldn't have said it. And it ended up really causing a chasm between not just the director of Ghostbusters in the cast, but a couple cast members as well, including Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray, because Dan Aykroyd is very good friends with John Landis. So,
yeah. Well, Dan Aykroyd is pretty much friends with everybody.
Well, no, but they made Trading Places and all kinds of movies together to that point. So.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Right. Will asked.
Brothers, to name a few,
Will in the chat asked, "Who is the black guy in Loaded Weapon with Emilio Estevez?"
That would have been Samuel
Jackson.
Yeah, he was not sure, but there we go.
That was just before Pulp Fiction, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, a couple of years, 2 years,
Oh, yeah.
2, 3 years.
I've seen half of Pulp Fiction. I need to finish it.
I heard a rumor that Samuel's supposed to make a cameo in Coming to America too, because he was. If anybody remembers, if you've seen that movie, he's the guy that holds up McDonald's.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he was a homeless guy, right? Or
he's in there with a gun and he's holding up McDonald's, and then Eddie Murphy comes up behind him with the stick.
Yeah,
or with the mop and gets him. Yeah.
Tom, when you guys were talking about all the stuff on the set stuff, it made me think of another one. I don't know if Rookie's seen on a disaster that happened on set is The Crow.
Oh yeah, that's
hold on. The Crow. I know I've seen some of one of them. What's the one where that chick gets her mouth sewn together? Is that The Crow?
That's the.
Sorry.
I don't know if that's The Crow.
That's
I don't know. I swear it was because there's like some bat-looking dude or something. Weird. Okay, I was at a friend's house, and I don't know what
that sounds more like Strange. What the hell was that one that D. Snyder did?
It's not Strangeland. If that's what you're thinking. That was a different movie.
They might have done that in one of them, but it would have been one of the sequels.
Because I swear some dude with superpowers comes in or something, and I don't know what the hell The Crow is about. And
no, The Crow has Brandon Lee in the first one.
Yeah, Bruce Lee's son who died in the making of the movie.
And it's actually a really good movie. It's
very, very good
novel. And it's got such a rich history to it that we could never get into it all here.
Yeah.
But the basics of the story is that this couple is killed on Halloween Eve because they're trying to move all these tenants out of this building. So this guy who owns the building pays these hooligans to come in and start moving, roughing them up to make them want to move. But Brandon Lee's character and his wife are the only ones who stay there or whatever. So they end up getting killed. And then a year later, he comes back from the dead to get revenge.
All right.
So he does have some powers, but they're all based around the Crow. And the fact that he already died once. Yeah.
All right. How many movies of The Crow is there? Because I think
there's
when
like 5 or 6 of the
when I looked it up, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
There's a TV series too.
Yeah.
So the first movie is the only one you need to watch, in my opinion.
Do they have different names, or is it just The Crow? And then
there's the Crow, then there's the Crow City of Angels, and there's Crow Station and Crow.
There's Stairway to Heaven Crow?
I think so. Stairway to Heaven or something like that was one of them.
Yeah, Stairway to Heaven. That was the TV series that came out in '98.
Or no, that was the series. You're right.
Yeah,
Which one's the one with Furlong in it? That one's Crow. Was that one Salvation, or was that the other one?
I guess my point was like I was trying to look for stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. There's so many movies that are named the same, even though they're different or a remake or something, and I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, Larry says not the original Crow, not remake. Yeah, they're not really sequels; they're more like remakes. Because the other outside of the second film, that's the only one that's really connected to the first one, and that one's so bad. I was so pissed at that second movie when I seen it in theaters.
Oh, it's
what
terrible.
I expected, but it's just like, what the fuck is this garbage? There was one that wasn't too bad. The one with I can't remember. It was the one with the Mexican guy and his kid get killed by those gangsters. And that one kind of reminded me, it was a little bit more close. I think there was things in that one that they pulled from the original graphic novel that wasn't in the original movie. So maybe that's why I liked it a little bit better. But outside the rest, they were garbage.
Yeah. The Crow Wicked Prayer. That was the one with Edward Furlong.
Oh God, that was so bad.
Yeah.
No. But let's see. Hold on. Seeing Stephen Ernest in the chat makes me think of those old Ernest.
Called it Crow. Edward Furlong's heroin money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was also Green Hornet as well, if I recall correctly, too.
Oh, he's in Green Hornet?
Yeah, as a drug maker.
Well, that's right. Oh, wow, that's right. I haven't watched that in so long.
I've only seen that movie once.
Yeah, Bill Sneaky.
I've seen it like twice, but I kind of vaguely remember him being in it now. Yeah, because he's in. Yeah, other than that, he did that Detroit Rock City, which is a good movie. But
yeah, Detroit Rock City is a fun movie.
And American History X. But otherwise, what else did he had like one or two other ones? What were they that were big right after?
He did one where it was like a Rear Window type.
Pet Cemetery 2, and what was the other one? Script Doctor.
There was a Rear Window type thing where he was like a kid.
Oh,
and
or wait, are you think? No, that was the one that I thought. Or did they do a different one? Because I think you're thinking of the one with, not Edward Furlong, but Shia LaBeouf.
No. This one was before that. It was late '90s. Because I know the Shia LaBeouf one was where he's got like a monitor on his leg. This one, Edward Furlong has like an injury to his leg and he can't move, and he's.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one then.
Oh, I got it. Let me check this out on IMDb. I'm pretty sure I can.
Yeah, Rear Window has been made remade so many damn times.
Real quick, Nick, are you okay to stay for a bit, or do you have a live stream that you're going to?
No, I'm good.
Echo Base says, Nick, we about to live stream.
Huh?
It's him. Coach is I don't know. He says we about to live stream, and it's almost I don't know. I just assuming. I don't know.
Oh, Coach is in there.
Yeah, he says we about to live stream. I put his chat up on the screen for you. I don't know if you
had attention yet.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about that.
I think it's Brain Scan.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now I remember that one, but I don't.
Yeah.
Are you sure that was like? That was the one with all the VR.
I think. Yeah, it was messed up.
I don't know. He had a while there where he had a bunch of movies, and then he just went away off the deep end. Like by the time he made that fucking Crow movie to get it back to the point we started from, he was way at the bottom of his barrel by then.
Yeah.
That was 2005.
Yeah, just checking real quick. So yeah, if you're good to stay, Nick, that's good. I was just double checking. Nick pays no attention.
I mean, for being as young as he was when he was plucked from nowhere to play John Connor, and some of the shit that he did after that, it's really sad to see where he went. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, child actors are a little bit better taken care of nowadays, but in the 80s and 90s, they were just commodities back then. There's some
even his mom, like he had a single mom, I think that really took advantage of him. I think was the situation, and some other shit too, or dad or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, I just called Coach. He's just messing around.
Okay, I wasn't sure. It's like 6 minutes to 10 my time, so I'm like, I don't know if you guys are streaming or not. So just double checking. Anyway, thanks chat for coming on by. This is a Die Hard discussion. That we're Die Hard can.
You didn't say what you talked about the second film much, did you?
No, we actually didn't. I guess we can actually go into that, but we've been having a die-hard discussion about film, so that's all
Because
good.
you did bring up the villain, and I will say, William Sadler gets a bad rap in that movie because
Oh, he's so good in that movie. Though.
he's good in it, but he was so overshadowed from the first
Yeah.
film. That's why, you know, I mean, otherwise the villains in that movie are really good. And then you also have, what is his name, John Amos, who takes that turn in the midway through.
Yeah.
From the Special Forces unit.
Yeah, the black
that
dude.
was a twist that I actually
Yeah.
didn't see the first time so quickly. You know, normally you would see something like that coming a mile away, but it wasn't.
No, they played it pretty well.
Yeah, they did a good job with it.
Yeah, I agree. He's like, I'm just your kind of asshole. Yeah, we buddies now. And then it's like, nope, it's definitely not. Yeah, I did see.
From
So hold on.
NYPD Blue's really good in it too. What the hell's his name?
Hold on, let's step back for a sec.
Oh,
So,
the guy who played the commish.
Yeah, or not the commish, but he was in NYPD Blue though.
Yeah.
Name.
Oh boy, I
know
who you're talking about.
Police captain of the airport.
The airport guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the captain of the airport, and then his brother is a character actor.
right, but I was saying real quick. So let's take it back a bit to what was most people's perception of Die Hard 2? Because I wasn't, paying attention to how popular it was at the time, and I just watched it. So, what was the main consensus on Die Hard 2? Everybody, starting with Christy.
From what I recall, it was very well received. I mean, I have my own personal issues with it, but from what I remember, it did very well at the box office. I think it got fairly decent reviews. I don't remember.
It was the same, but not quite different enough.
Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest complaint, I'm assuming, for most people at the time. I mean, over the years, I know.
And there was a couple of scenes they added in there that was stupid, like when the receptionist at the airport tries to hit on John McClane. That was added in for Bruce Willis.
Oh yeah, and he basically just says just the facts.
Just the facts, yeah. And he's got and he points to the wedding ring. Yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah, but I don't know. What did you think about it, Christy? Die Hard 2.
I liked the first one a lot better than this one. Because even though I literally watched this right before we went live, so I don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I watched it kind of back to back. Both the first time, and it was like Die Hard 2 seemed like they were struggling to have him do anything, and it's to where like in the first one, he's on the really high in the building. There's gunfire on the floor that he's in, and he's a cop, and he's trying to get word out there and trying to assess the situation, and he's trying to do all these things. There's reason as to why he's doing this stuff. He could technically sneak out, but his wife's in there, so why would he do that? It's like there's reason for him to be doing that. And then in this one, it's like, yeah, his wife's on an airplane, but like that's
the character that you were talking about in the first movie. Like we were talking about pretty much, where like he's proactive now, and it really doesn't work for his character. I think that's the biggest problem with the movie. And Dennis Franz was the character I was talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, because he seemed like he's a normal cop, and he just he had a hunch about some guys, and then he takes a good hunch and actually goes in to investigate while he's not on duty. That was kind of weird. It's like, I mean, would you really that? Like, I mean, maybe
he's not pulled into the situation and then trying to be proactive to get himself out and rescue people. What he is, he's kind of exasperating the situation on his own.
He inserted himself into it, right? And it's like that doesn't come off as good, because he sounds like he's a genius discovering this evil plan.
I
and
like
it's like
how they play off the whole thing with him, like you've been in this situation before kind of thing, and just because you have doesn't mean you're some kind of fucking expert.
Yeah, they do a little meta and they acknowledge his fame. But like, yeah, they're trying to say like, this is our job, this is our stuff, let us do it. Go wait for your wife.
Yeah, his proactiveness works against the movie as a whole. And I think that's where part 3 gets him back to where he should be. Because John McClane is supposed to be the guy who doesn't want to be there. He's only doing this because he has to. And if it was anybody else, it'd be a different story. But you know, it's there's only one person who can do it, and it's him. You know, and he's the lovable asshole. In the second movie, he's too nice. He's too good of a husband. He's too good of a cop. He's too right too many times. And even though he's exacerbating the problem, he's still the only solution in the end. And he's like a guest star almost in his own vehicle at that point when you get to the end of the film, it feels like.
Yeah, there's no personal conflict that he's got to resolve as well. Like in the first one, it's, you know, fix the relationship with his wife. In the second one, it's kind of fix the relationship with his wife and some other stuff. And this one here, everything's all hunky-dory in his home life and in his job as well. So like he's just kind of going through the motions. And
it would have been an easy fix too, Script Doctor. I think if they would have just made it to where like this is the first time they're seeing each other since New York.
Yeah, it's like they've been doing over the phone for a while. They've reconciled. Everything's kind of going well. And there's like, okay, we're going to figure out our situation when you come back from LA. Like it's an important moment for them and everything. And it all hinders on.
And she has to be in the plane for him to want to have to be there. That's the very simple. Yeah. But now if you gave him the extra thing, like I need to be able to, you know, reconcile with my wife still. I haven't seen her since LA. You know, I've been in New York all this time and I'm just coming back here and she's coming in on a different plane or whatever, you know, that kind of a thing. Maybe, you know, it could have worked out a little better and gave him more of a reason to be there because I get it. Her being in the air, but any smart cop would know like the best thing I can do is stay the fuck out of this situation so that they can
let
get
it play out. Yeah.
Around. Yeah.
What's funny too is that they literally remove him from it multiple times, but he just keeps on inserting himself back into it.
That's the problem with the movie is that they're creating conflict. And I think
artificial conflict, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem is the director. That's Rennie Harlin. And at the time, he still wasn't. He was a good director, but he was still learning. I mean, at this time, he'd done Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and what else? I mean, as far as like big movies, I don't think he's done much at this point. Let me look.
Yeah, and I don't know. It just seemed like I don't understand why they picked an airport to be it. I thought it was going to be like a mall takeover of some kind.
Well, the airport's got a lot more people, a lot more traffic, a lot more stakes on the surface level of things.
Yeah, that's less intimate. Nightmare on Elm Street 4. He hadn't done anything in between, so.
Something else on. So when he was in DC, weren't they there visiting her parents for Christmas?
Yeah, that was what it was supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had quit the New York Police Department and became
in LA. Yeah, that's where I think they ruined all the conflict there because they made him all happy home and and then they're meeting up in DC or whatever it was for that reason or whatever. Yeah, it was just so convoluted and getting him in the same situation. And it was probably just because that was the only airport that would allow him to film in shit like that at, and it's hard to say.
Yeah, in the movie had a $70 million budget and actually made a little over 240 million.
It was a hit. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just
there's a lot of good stuff in Die Hard 2. It's basically just the context that puts the story in motion that needs to be worked on a little more.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say setting also plays into it. It's like it's just kind of a boring setting. It's just the airport and a plane. That's where the hotel at least is under construction, and you're going outside to the cops arguing with each other, and the FBI comes in, and that conflict seemed more natural. All of the conflict that was happening was a natural conflict. That's where this was like, yeah, I don't like you.
Yeah, that's the point of the first film is if he could get away just to let the cops know what's going on, because he spends the first 10, 15 minutes after they get taken over trying to get a hold of the cops. I mean, and he does that here. He gets a hold of the proper authorities, but like Script Doctor and everybody else, he keeps sticking his nose in the damn thing because he thinks they're not doing a good enough job because he's some kind of expert because he's dealt with some non-terrorists before. We're closer to real terrorists, and then they have to add in the whole other plot just to make it more like the first film. And that's the reason why it suffered.
That confused me even more. I'm like, since when is he a genius with this stuff? Like, since how do you know?
Yeah, he's clever, but he's not a genius. And that was what made the first Die Hard really good, is because both the good guy and the bad guy are a lot smarter than what we presume them to be, but they're still not, godlike smart. They don't know everything that's going on around here. They're picking at each other as a cat and mouse battle of wits. situation. With Die Hard 2, it's not so much. It's almost like John McClane knows what's going on before it's happening.
Right. They take the first clever thing he does and they take it too far. Like the first clever thing, he sees those one guys go into the unauthorized area and all that kind of crap in the baggage area and sees the shit go down, whatever. That's the kind of thing a normal cop would notice. But then everything after that, it takes it way too far. And that's where really
too fast,
right. You know, the Dennis Franz character is right through most of the movies. Like, who the fuck are you, McClane, and why are you here? You have no right to be here. You don't know what the fuck you're doing here. You got no jurisdiction. And he's right. Through most of the movie, he's right. You know, it's like McClane shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be exacerbating the problem.
I mean, the main thing is like in the first one, that was a situation where his skills as a cop could come in handy and be useful to this, as to where, like, in this situation with the terrorists literally hijacking planes, it just, there's no reason for his knowledge to be any better than anyone else's. Anyone else could have.
And they give it, like Script Doctor was saying, they give him too much they try and push the conflict too far.
Yeah.
I guess Coach is backstage, by the way.
I didn't see him. Oh, there you go.
Like where the third film, I think, fixes a lot of those problems. Hey, Coach, this is the first time I ever believe I've talked.
Hello, Coach.
Hello, guys. Die Hard 2 is way better. How could you not think that the epic battle between John McClane and the McDonald's manager dad from Coming to America, when he said, "I don't know whether to shake your hand, kiss it, bow, or what. I feel like breakdancing."
I mean, you know, it's a tough argument, I suppose. You get Severus Snape, Snape or McDonald's guy. I mean,
McDowell, right?
Yeah, that wasn't
Golden Arches.
That was another interesting hire or casting for Die Hard 2. I thought was William Sadler to play Colonel Stewart, the bad guy, because he did a lot of stuff in like Roseanne and did like comedy stuff.
He plays the Grim Reaper in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
So, and he was ripped in that movie. I mean, he was in shape for that movie, Die Hard 2.
William Sadler, to me, is a very underutilized and under-recognized actor. I mean, he's been in a lot of things.
Yeah.
No, he's going to work forever because that's what character actors do. And that's why, like, he just knows how to play the scenes and the characters he gets to a T. And I mean, I know a lot of people want him to be like a lead in a film, but I don't think.
Well, it's too late now, but yeah.
The number one, yeah, it's too late, but also it's not to his strength where he can really shine. It's kind of like, I call it the Will Ferrell syndrome. Like when you see Will Ferrell as like a secondary buddy character and stuff, he really knocks it out of the park. But when he's leading the film, it just doesn't have the same resonance as when he's just like a supporting character out of an ensemble. And that's the case with character actors.
Wasn't he also on Tales from the Crypt more times than any other actor? Isn't that why?
I think so. That seems about right.
At least that's what I think I remember, because he's in both the movies.
Yeah, and he's been in a bunch of the HBOs.
And plus, he played Death. Well, he played the Grim Reaper one time. That's one of my favorite episodes where him and the Crypt Keeper are playing games.
See, now what would have been funny? What would have been funny though is you know how they had the Carl Winslow guy in Die Hard 1. I don't remember his Roy.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever, they had Roy in it or whatever. I don't know his actor's name.
It's Reginald something.
Now, if they had if they brought in Bob Saget and then some other TV sitcom dad or fatherly figure in to be the other cast, that would be a sitcom dad heist movie or something.
It's better yet if you would have got Bronson Pinchot to come in, or Pinchot, however you say his name, and have him play Serge from Beverly Hills Cop. So you have like this whole trifecta thing going on. He's not only a TGIF alum, because Family Matters was a spinoff of
Trading Places. Perfect Strangers, yes.
Perfect Strangers. Yeah. And then he also played Serge though in Beverly Hills Cop, so that would connect. Beverly Hills Cop to Die Hard, and that's L.A., so it's close.
And then Ghostbusters.
And Ghostbusters. Yeah.
Hey, you guys might have already
Yo,
said it.
Like,
but,
I saw this in '84 when the
guys.
top of a building blow up, and now I'm here in LA and there's another top of a building blow
I
up.
left New York because there was ghosts.
Did you guys say that Sadler was reprising his role in Bill and Ted next
Yeah.
year?
Yes.
Yeah. You could take that to the bank.
Yeah, we knew that.
Did you, Did you catch that? Anybody catch that?
Yes.
You could take that to the bank? No?
It's not surprising if I don't know, though. So that's on you guys. I think I don't know if you missed or if you caught my movie.
I can't think of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Martial arts 1980s and 90s star. As big as any.
Van Damme?
Seagal. Above the Law.
Oh yeah, he was a Sadler. He was the the governor or
yeah, he was the governor.
What was it? Hard to Kill or
no? It was Wait, you're right. I said Above the Law. All his movies are the same, man. Yeah, you're right. Hard to Kill.
President in the Marvel universe.
Yep.
Yep. I completely forgot about that.
And he was in a number
of
of
lot of
Deep
stuff.
Space Nine episodes.
Somebody should take all his Marvel scenes and replace his dialogue from Dialogue is Death. Iron Man to him to save him, and he's like, "Don't overlook my butt. Reaping burns lots of calories."
Yeah, I actually got a friend who was on set for the Bill and Ted 3 movie.
Oh, really?
She got a bunch of stuff signed by Keanu Reeves and all them. She's actually coming up to Birmingham. She's been in some she was in Jay and Silent Bob reboot, and she's going with me to go to the premiere of that here in Birmingham in February. So I'm going to try to get Kevin Smith to give a shout out to Echo Base Network.
Sweet.
That's a good goal.
Yeah.
We went to the earlier premieres when it was just without him.
Yeah.
The ones with him. So
yeah. Him and Jason Mewes are doing that.
See if he's asked if he's ever heard of Midnight's Edge.
Yeah.
Hey, well, Echo Base was the guys that broke the stuff with William Shatner. So you never know, guys.
Yeah. When we were on live with Doomcock.
Yeah. Tom was on the live stream as well during that whole thing. I was actually had a conversation with his Shatner's PR guy in a back-to-back email about the documentary we're working on about trying to get Shatner to do a Shatner take on the Star Wars sequel trilogy. But here after the first of the year, we're gonna work on trying to get Doomcock a phone interview with Shatner again. Whether it actually happened or not was to be seen.
Yeah.
All right. I think I feel like you see how long we talked about Die Hard 1. It's like with Die Hard 2, I don't know if there's much more to say. Personally,
I liked it. I definitely liked the first one better. But I mean, I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, Coach, these guys are telling me that Die Hard 3 is actually pretty good.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Die Hard 3, Coach? With Samuel L. Jackson.
I thought it was good. Especially the end where they're like in the train area and all
now
that.
Rookie hasn't seen it, so don't spoil it.
Oh, my bad. But the
Samuel Jackson's on that one, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. It's good. The banter between the two of them is hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Really good. Having to go around town like to beat the clock, literally. That's all good stuff. I like it.
Yeah, I think that's about all there is to say for now.
I got nothing.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I pretty much got all that I wanted to say about the Die Hard. At least the first two movies. So we'll have to do I guess I'll have to watch 3, 4, and 5 at some point, and we can.
You can ignore 5.
You can watch 3.
Yeah.
I feel like they're necessary to make fun of.
It'd be cool to contrast 4 with 3, but yeah, 5 you can just fucking.
Oh, wait, which one is the one where he gets a son in it or something?
Well, he's had part 5 is the one where Jai Courtney plays his son.
Jai Courtney. Oh my god, I love him, but I hate him. It's like, he's so bad. He's so bad.
I think that was a script floating around for Die Hard 4 years ago, and I read it online, and I'm like, God, I hope they never make this movie.
Yeah, they're supposed to be doing another one, and
that one got killed in the Disney sale, from my recollection.
Yeah, there's also a TV show in the works too that got nixed.
Oh, okay. So I heard McClane, which was the next Die Hard movie, actually got announced, but you're saying it ended up getting canceled?
Yeah, it was one of the movies that if it wasn't so far along in pre-production, that they wasn't going to get picked up in the Disney sale, and it didn't get picked up. That does not mean that they won't resurrect a Die Hard 6 at some point, but I doubt it'll be what they were planning on doing, which was this prequel mixed with wraparounds with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I'm really not happy about Disney's acquisition of so many of these Fox titles, like Die Hard, Aliens, Predator.
Yeah, but remember, they were the same people who released Pulp Fiction and Hellraiser 3 through whatever. And
yeah.
Do you think that with Disney having hold of these properties that they'll make changes similar to how Lucas kind of does to censor things, change something?
I don't think so. Not to the point where people think. They didn't buy Fox to fuck with everything. They bought Fox so they had Fox, so that they had more stuff than just Disney stuff. I mean, they used to have Dimension and Miramax Films, which used to do a lot of similar kind of stuff. I mean, everything from Pulp Fiction to Clerks to The Crow to
The Crying Game.
The Crying Game, Scream series. Yeah, I mean, Hellraiser series, Halloween movies for a while.
Yeah, most of the Kevin Smith movies.
Yep.
The early ones.
So, I mean, I really would be surprised if they changed too much. I mean, but then again, I don't know. I doubt it. I really
depends what happens after Iger leaves. Who takes over and decides what direction they're going to go.
I mean, they keep kind of struggling with Alien too, but I think part of that problem is because Ridley Scott keeps wanting to be involved, and nobody has the balls to tell him they don't want him to be involved. But I could be wrong.
Now, do you guys think
I'd tell him that, but I don't have a position there.
Do you think they should keep on making those movies, or just kind of let them be?
No, that part. I mean, Bill, though, you know what I mean. Though he's Ridley fucking Scott. What are they going to tell him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those people will part of my own flaw here is that I try to treat as many people who I meet in the industry as actual people that are flawed and not praise them, and that does hinder me sometimes. But if I were in the position where they hired me tomorrow to be at Disney just to say, hey, you're going to tell Ridley Scott he's not doing Alien anymore, I would do it. I would have no problem doing it at all. I don't care how he would react or anything. I'd have a conversation with him, ask what ideas he has. And
he's the reason we never got Blomkamp's Alien.
That Alien would have been phenomenal. From what I read of it, I mean, them basically canceling out 3 and 4 and basically picking up years after Aliens. Man, I would have been there day one to see that.
Yeah, Stig Kenobi saying hi in the chat real quick. I'm just catching up on the chat right now. Biden Touch has joined us. What's up, Biden Touch? For some reason, I love that name for.
I do too. It's hilarious.
Biden Touch, because he's got that touching thing, and it's just come on. It's like a meme for a political person instead of a Jeremy, Instead, so that's kind of funny. But yeah, with the Fox acquisition, now should I be buying my movies now from these people, or I think they'll be around later because, like, based on what Dimcock sometimes says, is that they're going to start making their changes soon, and you're like restricting
Disney
access.
will always scrub shit on their own. It's a little more difficult when you get to movies like Fox because there's directors and producers and other people that are involved that have
yeah, they have a different ownership connection to it.
Right. Now, I mean, there's a bunch of people on Twitter making a big deal out of the Trump scene being cut from Home Alone 2 in Canada.
Yeah, I know why they did that.
Well, my understanding is actually it's something from way back in 2014. And it's because they cut it down because, as people know, you got to fit in commercials, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
it has certain content rules that they have.
Certain regions play shorter versions anyway.
What was that?
Don't certain regions play certain things like a different length? Anyway?
Yeah, I mean,
like with the Karate Kid and different regions.
It could even be that it's never been in the Canadian version. I mean, they may have thought. I mean, that I don't know. It probably has then, but I was going to say, I don't know if you guys even knew who Trump was back then to where I can understand where that got cut out.
I barely knew of his existence.
Yeah, the scene is so quick that
it's like 3 or 4 seconds. And usually they don't I mean, I used to work for the CBC, like in their building on 120 John and all that stuff. And whenever they cut for commercial stuff, they try to cut something that's a bit bulkier. Like they don't do like hairline cuts like that unless it's exterior.
Actually, if you count the whole scene that was cut, it cuts from the time that he goes in and all this introduction shit, and it's like a minute and a half scene, but Trump's only in the last bit. So from my understanding, they cut out that whole intro bit from that scene. So it had nothing to do with Trump at the time because it was done in 2014 from what I read.
Probably. I mean, there is a beef in Toronto with Trump. It goes back as far as 2006.
That I'm not denying. Denying. I mean, I looked into this, and from what I found, this cut was actually made in 2014.
Yeah, probably was. Yeah.
Right, but it's best to make a big deal about it now.
It's just because
it's kind of weird because CBC hasn't really aired Lost in New York in a few years. They've always done the first Home Alone.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So it was kind of weird that they aired Lost in New York this year, and I think the last 6 years they've done just a regular Home Alone, and they don't even do it that often. They also do it with strange hours, because again, it's a weird government-run network. But yeah, it's strange. There's a lot of other stuff. That
point of view, I can see why they would take it out if they're going to try and squeeze more commercials in. If it was for a political reason, then it's just stupid because it's Canada.
I guarantee you, there's probably someone who decided to air it for a political reason. If the old cut was like from 2014, but again, like the city of Toronto and also CBC in general has not liked Donald Trump since 2006. So. I would not be surprised if it just happened to be a happy coincidence that something that they cut for personal reasons also happens to coincide with a bunch of other reasons that have now come to light.
That I can totally see.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is the scene, so it doesn't really serve a purpose. So I mean,
it kind of sets up that Kevin McAllister is going to be this kid that meets a lot of famous people, but he just treats them like regular strangers and regular people.
Kind of, but
I mean, it's not an extra part, but it is a character thing for Kevin because it's like, oh, it's dramatic irony. He's meeting these famous people that he has no idea are famous, but he's treating them like people as opposed to the others around them that grovel, like, the hotel staff whenever they're doing their stuff. I think the one with the toy store owner is far more impactful. But the Donald Trump thing was just because they're shooting in the Plaza Hotel that he owned at the time. So wouldn't it be funny if they did it? Right,
and the other part is a minute of that minute and a half scene is them just establishing shots of the Plaza Hotel. That's literally a minute of movie that can be summed up in 25, not even 25 seconds, 5 seconds.
5 to 10 seconds at the most. Yeah.
So that's why I understand from both, but I mean, like again, like you said, if it's that case too, I can see that. I really have a hard time seeing that they just did it now all of a sudden, though. But
No, I think it was done from all the regular hate that they had from him before he became president.
Now I noticed that Coach has changed his avatar to Rose Tico. I'm just saying.
You know what that is? I thought it was Davy Crockett as a chick. I wasn't sure.
Kind of can't hear Jeremy's
There's a reason for that. Like, so we're dropping a show in the morning about all this backlash from the media demanding justice for Rose Tico, which is so funny to me. So we do a breakdown.
Last Jedi?
Yeah. So we do a breakdown.
She was treated horribly in The Last Jedi.
I mean, I don't think so, but
well, she was barely a character in The Last Jedi. You have this character that's supposed to be a mechanic, and she doesn't do anything mechanical. Like, she should have been the Scotty to Star Wars.
Yeah. Well,
instead they just make her.
All right, so let me ask you a follow-up question. How big should R2-D2 be in the sequel trilogy?
He should have replaced BB-8 because there shouldn't have been BB-8 to begin with.
All right. Do you know how much R2-D2 you got in the sequel trilogy as a whole?
Maybe like less than 3 minutes.
Less than 5.
Okay, so more than 3 minutes, but less than 5.
And that's just one example. So it's the same with Rose Tico had more minutes than several characters, including new characters. So I understand people saying that they did her wrong and everything, but
yeah, we have. There's plenty of arguments for other characters too.
Yeah, absolutely. Where's the media's outcry for anybody else? We know why they chose Rose.
But they're not marginalized. Yep. Yep. So we'll be looking forward to that, man. But I got a $2 super chat from the Stone Cold Jeremy. Yeah, I don't know what Stone Cold sounds like, so I can't do an impression or nothing. But he says, after Prometheus, I lost faith in Ridley Scott.
Yeah, I mean, Prometheus is really pretty to look at and has some interesting ideas, but especially, well, worse off is not so much Prometheus, but the next one, Covenant.
Covenant?
Yeah, that one really puts a lot of like nails in the coffin of what we all kind of thought the aliens were, and boxing in this universe and making it smaller and telling us too much about the villains. And yeah, I mean, because you have this idea that the aliens are like this biological weapon in the first films. By the time you get to the end of Prometheus and Covenant, that's not necessarily the case, and it's this whole like, yeah, a bunch of horse shit, convoluted bullshit, and evolution.
Yeah, when you try to explain something that's already simple, you over
kind of like the Force.
Yeah,
kind of like the Force. Yeah.
Yep.
Scotty says it best in Search for Spock. When you overthink the plumbing, it's easy to clog the drain. So
that sounds like a fun quote. I haven't seen it.
He could have just stuck with his idea of wanting to tell us who the blue people were, who the whatchamacallit, the
space engineers.
Yeah, the engineers. That's the word I was looking for.
The Blue Man Group. No.
Because, I mean, yeah, we already kind of got an idea of what the aliens were. You don't need any more explanation than that. It would have been more interesting just to explore more about who these original big blue people were.
The space jockey was like the stories way back when, yeah.
Were they supposed to be the giant skeleton in Alien 1? Like there's a giant
space jockey, yeah.
Is a space jockey the same as the blue people you're talking about, or what?
Yeah, they're inside like suits or whatever is what they are, yeah.
That makes sense. But with the question on the screen from Turd Burglar, another name I seem to love, I think this one is honestly best suited for Tom because he knows more about
First of all,
than I do. So I'm going to read it out real quick. So Turd Burglar asks, thoughts on what would happen if George Lucas took Bob Iger's spot at head of Disney?
First, I think he's too old because I think he's older than Bob Iger, ain't he?
He's like 79
definitely.
Or 80 almost.
And then secondly, he'd hate it.
Yeah.
George Lucas, he never wanted to be George Lucas. Like he wanted the exact opposite of that.
He wanted to stay as independent experimental filmmaker guy.
Yeah, he hated the corporations and ultimately became what he hated. as he puts it himself.
He hated the unions. He hated not the unions.
He hated the Directors Guild.
The Guild.
Yeah.
He's the 80s Directors Guild. Not so much now. He actually is fine with them now. But like a lot of people hated the Directors Guild in the 70s and 80s.
He's not a people person, so he'd have a hard time dealing with all the people. Bob Iger's a good talker. Like, I mean, you read his interviews or listen to him talk in his interviews. I mean, he can say a lot of shit that normally people wouldn't get away with. And it's just because of the way he words it and the way he says it and how he handles situations. And I mean, I as much as I dislike a lot of shit that's happened under Disney, I do have to respect him as a businessman because he pulled Disney out from under this cloud of, inconsistency and crap. But now that's what it's like the cloud just moved over Star Wars is kind of what happened. It's really weird.
Yeah, he bought properties for the cloud to cover, so the rest of Disney would lose.
Yeah, kind of.
By comparison.
That's a really good way to put it. But I mean, Marvel just turned out to be this, knock out of the park deal situation where, it's going to be. That's the thing is, it doesn't matter how bad Star Wars goes. He'll always be known as the guy who made the deal of a lifetime with Marvel.
Yep.
I mean, he got Marvel for a steal, and he was right because he wanted them way back when they could have got them even cheaper. And according to the board, they didn't jive with Disney's, image. So they turned him down then when he could have got it for, I think, like $2 or $3 million. He could have bought the whole damn thing. And then I think in the end, they ended up paying, what was it, $12 million for Marvel? It wasn't a lot.
No, it was pretty cheap.
It was really cheap for him. And they made they made so much money from Marvel that's what'll always be the thing, he'll be known for. I mean, Pixar, yeah, he kind of brought Pixar back to Disney, but then he diluted it by stretching Pixar into the animation department. It just made it made Disney animation a little bit better, but it made Pixar animation a lot worse.
Yeah, well, he broke up Pixar essentially.
Yeah, and I don't know if that has more to do with what Lasseter did or if that has more to do with Bob Iger. So I don't know if I can really comment on that without knowing everything.
Yeah, Disney paid $4.24 billion for Marvel.
Oh, they did pay that much?
Yeah, $4.24 billion.
I thought it was less than that. Okay, they could have got it for a couple.
No, Paramount had a. I thought we were talking about Paramount's deal with Marvel.
Oh, Paramount. They were the ones.
Paramount.
You're right.
Okay,
they were the ones that got it for dirt cheap. You're right. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah. I'm forgetting my timeline of events.
It's kind of tricky because it happened so fast. Because as soon as Iron Man hit, that's when Disney started putting pressure on Paramount to buy the brand.
Well, they bought him just before Avengers came out, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Avengers was the last movie. Well, not the last movie Paramount had because they also had the Iron Man movie. But they were
it was like they bought it, and then it was, I think, 2 movies after they still had the Paramount principal for like on its marquee and everything like that when it started up, and then it switched over to Disney.
Yeah, because there was like a 2 or 3 picture deal they had to finish out. Yeah, you're right. Thanks for correcting me on that, Nick. Or was it? Yeah, was it Nick or was it?
Well, when you have a company buying so many other companies, it's really hard to keep track of.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, because I know he wanted to buy them way back when. Way before any of the thing, like the only thing this would have been in like the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in there. Probably.
I think he wanted to buy them after Spider-Man came out.
Yeah, so it would have been early 2000s then, and but Disney said they didn't jive with their image, so they passed on it. And they could have got them for next to nothing. And then you're right. Then Paramount could have got them, I think, for $12 million, and passed because for some reason $12 million sticks out in my head. And then after that, that's when, so then, that was the whole thing. Yeah, you're right, because Lucas wanted the Marvel and the Pixar deal. So he paid $4.5 billion for each one of them, pretty much. And just a little bit more, I think, for Marvel. So.
Yeah. But Marvel was really well-oiled machine by that time. They knew what they were doing.
Well, that was the only one he didn't mess with. Bob Iger didn't come into the picture and mess with Marvel until Black Panther and Captain Marvel. Remember when Ike Perlmutter was no longer in charge of shit?
Yeah.
That incident. And that's covered in Bob's book. And he takes all credit for it because he's so happy for it. But from our point of view, that's where we know where shit changed. And that's what everything happened was as much as Perlmutter was a penny pincher, basically.
He's also a problem solver too. Like he was pretty decent at what he did.
But my point I was going to get to is I think so much more it was like, yeah, Feige wanted to make, I think, Black Panther. And he had mentioned Captain Marvel quite a few times. But it was more like he made a deal to, as long as he did those movies. And I think Black Panther was the one he really, 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 really wanted, is from what it sounded like to me. But Bob Iger was just so hung up on getting Captain Marvel out there. Because otherwise, why wouldn't you think that Feige would be like, well, Black Widow deserves a movie first? Of course, you would think.
I thought that was Perlmutter way back in the day when he was talking about that.
Perlmutter said no girls. No, he said no to Black Panther.
Right, no, it was who's the other guy? Because there's three big ones there. There's Perlmutter, there's Feige, and there's another
Alan
producer
Horn
there.
or the other?
No,
Marvel?
not Horn.
There's Akiva. They're not Akiva. The guy who produced the Spider-Man movies. Is that who you're talking about?
No, there's one more person who was he was co-producer on Avengers, and I remember around town he was pitching for, or he was not pitching, but he was talking about like a Black Widow movie would be really, really good. And this was during the time they were doing pre-production on Winter Soldier.
Who you're talking about then?
Oh man, I gotta look this up.
Did Perlmutter push him out?
I think maybe that might have been the case.
Yeah, because Perlmutter said no women because Supergirl bombed, and no non-white superheroes was his thing. So he was keeping like anybody who wasn't basically one of the main guys down.
Right. Yeah, the story of the MCU, and it's
the other guy. I'm trying to think of his damn name now, and I should know it. And I know it's on the tip of my tongue, but he produced the Spider-Man movies and still has a stake in those. I think he's the guy who owned the toy company that bought Marvel. I'm trying to think.
Avi Arad.
Avi Arad. Yeah, that's who I thought you were talking about at first, but then it's not who you're talking about. You're talking about somebody else. So.
The names just escape. I'm just having that moment right now.
And the story doesn't even ring a bell, so I'm sure I'm not even sure who you're talking about offhand. I mean, if I heard the name, maybe, but yeah, Avi is another one that was kind of a shyster of a businessman too.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Yeah, Paramount sold most of their distribution rights back to Disney in like 2013 after Phase 1.
Well, that was the thing. Paramount needed some capital, and I don't know who the fuck made that idea or who the hell let that go over there or what the hell happened. But
yeah, that was stupid.
Somebody's head probably rolled over it, I'm sure, because after Avengers came out and all that crap, and they didn't have the rights anymore, I'm sure.
Yeah, because they only got 115 million is what they sold it to Disney for. They're on their distribution rights.
It was Jeremy Latcham, I think.
Okay, yeah, the name's not ringing a bell, but that's probably
he did Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, Spider-Man: Homecoming. I'm pretty sure he was the one that was talking about doing a Black Widow film after Avengers was released. But that was just around the town. I don't think he ever got it moving much further because I remember a lot of female writers were nipping at the bit to try and write that movie.
Yeah. Well, and that was what I was saying is Kevin really kind of nursed that character, throughout, it seems like, and made sure she was always a big part of the situation. So I can't help but feel like inside he was probably like, oh, she deserves a movie first. But he made this deal with Iger to get rid of Perlmutter. That's what it was. So, but
wasn't that Bob Lawson over at Paramount that had all the dealings with that whole?
I don't know what it was. He deserves to lose their damn job if they didn't.
Yeah.
How the hell they're still working in Hollywood? I mean,
yeah.
That's just
well, there's a lot of us outskirt writers and some young producers and stuff that as soon as we heard the news in the trades, we're like, what? Are they stupid? like they have a golden goose.
It would have set Paramount up for the next fucking 20, 30, 40 years easy.
Yeah.
Easily. And also the movies would have gone in a far more riskier direction, but still would have had a huge return.
Well, what didn't make sense to me is that they sold the distribution rights to Disney for Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and the Avengers, but they kept the distribution rights for Hulk.
Well, Hulk was Universal.
I was going to say that's because that one's wrecked.
Oh, that's right. It was Universal. That's right. That's why
and they
Disney
gotta
doesn't
do
have it
that.
anymore.
Yeah, and then they don't have to do anything there, and they didn't want to have to spend the money because all they have to do is not make a movie that doesn't, as long as it doesn't have Hulk in the title.
Yeah. Yep.
Then they don't have
They
to
can
make
basically use him as a supporting
universe.
character in all the other movies, and
They can call
Yeah.
it Bruce Banner and get away with it, I think.
Well, and I think that they learned that as much as I love the Hulk and I think he can carry a movie just fine, I think they've kind of gotten to this point where they don't really think they need to do a Hulk movie on his own. And the kind of character it is, he works better with other characters. Like
Yeah.
I love him in Thor Ragnarok. Like to me, I mean, I know some people don't, but to me,
No, I enjoyed him a lot in Thor Ragnarok. That was
yeah, I did too.
that much better usage out of the character. And then even what they did with him kind of in Endgame to some people's dislike as well, I thought was clever way of bringing in the Professor Hulk kind of thing.
I'm the only
it was
the one
kind of
thing I'm
rushed for my liking, but the result was not bad.
Yeah, the one thing I'm excited about on the Fox Disney deal that I hope that we get at some point in time is Wolverine and Hulk movie. I don't know if we'll ever actually get it.
That Hugh Jackman was hanging around Marvel offices recently. I don't know how much validity there is to that, but I don't think he'd come back as Wolverine. But I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't make a full-on, half-assed, large cameo in Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
I could totally see him being in Deadpool 3.
That's what I think he was there for. I'll be 100% honest with you. Because it was not too long after I think they had started the rumblings of, yes, we're going to get a Deadpool 3, and Ryan Reynolds was also spotted hanging around and talking to everybody and shit like that.
Yeah, because Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman actually got kind of close and become friends over the whole.
Oh yeah, there's a whole
Deadpool
thing on Twitter
and
going on, and
yeah. So
yeah, they did it recently. They just did a Christmas photo, I think.
Yeah, if anything, I think Hugh Jackman would do it literally just as a favor to Ryan Reynolds, because I don't think he has any interest in playing the character anymore.
Well, the only thing he said was one time he'd do it if it was mixed with the Marvel characters.
Yeah.
And that's just not going to happen. They're going to recast and reformat the X-Men for the Disney Marvel universe. That's just, we're not going to get Hugh Jackman. He may play Wolverine in Deadpool 3, but I doubt it. It'll probably more or less be a very glorified cameo. My
Well,
It'll be
the
more
way
than what
Disney
Brad Pitt did, but
the way Disney handles continuity with Star Wars, I mean, hell, they can pretty much do anything, you know.
Well, with Ryan, as long as Ryan Reynolds is around, I really don't see them messing up Deadpool too much. And Bob Iger knows a good thing when he sees it. And he said enough times that they don't plan on messing with the formula. And I really do feel like that PG-13 Deadpool was a testing ground. And I don't think it did that well.
No.
So, I mean, I think they've learned that this is a concept that only works in an R rating. I don't think they're going to bring Deadpool into the main Marvel universe. He may show up, or he may have Marvel characters show up in like cameos and like in credits or something. But I really feel like they're going to keep that universe separate from the rest. Like you're going to have like a Deadpool universe, because I've already heard stuff about the dark universe separate Marvel thing. Because I know you guys were talking about Blade earlier, and I've actually got some people on the inside I've talked about Blade before about. And I mean, there's things that I'm worried about, but there's also things I'm not too worried about. They are going to go as hard a PG-13 as they can with it. But I've also heard rumblings, like, think of it in the lines of like this next Doctor Strange movie is supposed to really push the limits of scary shit in the Marvel universe. So they're like, a lot of people have been saying, think more in the line of that, think more in the line of that for some reason. So it's like, it's going to be more of a cosmic kind of connection with the dark universe kind of shit of the Marvel side of things.
Huh. Coach, did you ever see Deadpool 2?
I never did. I started it and I just couldn't finish it.
Yeah, it was not as good as the first one.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
not
that
even
was-
saying that it was terrible. I mean, if I had to guess, my 9-year-old daughter was walking around the house, and I'm like, I can't do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
You know
definitely
what's
not a
really
kids
funny
movie.
about that is when I went to see Jurassic World 2, that movie started playing instead of Jurassic World, so there was a bunch of like young kids.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness! Bless their hearts.
It was fucking hilarious.
I bet.
It didn't get hilarious after we had to switch theaters 2 or 3 times, and then my date and I just said fuck it and we left. But we had free tickets anyway, so we're like, screw it, we'll just come back tomorrow. Well, we moved the first time, we lost our good seats, and then they moved us back for some dumb reason. And it was like, why didn't they just leave us where we were, stop the movie, move the other one back over, which is what they did eventually anyway, and just left everybody where they were? Because you had the 2 theaters switch places twice. So of course, all the people that were there early lost their good seats. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't assigned seating. So,
Wow.
and I mean, it was like, yeah, there was a bunch of kids there because it was for a Jurassic Park movie.
Then I see
I
some
thought that
crazy
was
Deadpool
funny.
stuff happen.
Well, I should have known something was up because we did get a few Red Band trailers, but that's not totally out of the ordinary for a PG-13 movie. Sometimes you will sneak a Red Band trailer in there, but I didn't think they could. I don't know if Script Doctor knows more about that, what I'm talking about, but
The whole MPAA and all that stuff, it's just a joke. But yeah, on the theater side of things, it's foreign world to me most times.
yeah, I mean, I've never noticed in too many PG-13 movies where I'll see a Red Band trailer, but I mean, I guess I didn't really take note of how many R-rated trailers I was getting before that the movie started, that I'm like, something should have been up in my head, but it wasn't. For some reason, I just didn't pay enough attention until the movie actually started, and I'm like, this ain't Jurassic Park. As soon as I seen the 20th Century Fox logo come up, like, something's wrong here. And because I think the first shot is like Deadpool's mouth with a cigarette.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
sitting on a bunch of
Yo,
drum
this is
barrels, right?
Deadpool too.
Yeah, yep.
And like right in front of me, I look down and there's this dad with like 3 kids, and I'm like, oh shit.
And he blows himself up and his head goes
Yeah.
flying.
4-letter words all left and right, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh crap. I felt sorry for that guy. It's like,
Yeah, that mother's gonna be really upset when we get home.
Daddy, what does that mean? Yeah,
I wonder how often that actually happens in movie theaters.
more than you'd think. What was the big? There's been a few big times where it's made like national news.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there was one time Guardians of the Galaxy was supposed to be played, and something else got played that had a similar title, but it was not Guardians of the Galaxy, and that one wasn't so bad. But there's been there was one where kids movie ended up playing It instead of the other movie, and by the time they figured out what was going on, it had already gotten through like the Georgie arm rip scene and all that shit. So you had a whole theater full of kids and parents that are
Oh, gosh.
the kids movie was supposed to be out at the time, and it's so easy for them to get it screwed up because you've got 20,000 theaters, and it's not like it was in the days of film, to where there's only one movie playing and that's it. No, they move movies around all day long, and it all depends on what's selling tickets and this, that, and the other, and since it's all on a hard drive and through the internet, they just upload it to the hard drive they have there in the theater, and so it's easy to fuck these things up.
That is nice. Now, this has been a great conversation, guys, and going for almost 3 hours now. It seems to be the classic.
At
We're
least
not-
if kids were stuck watching Die Hard, it wouldn't be so bad. It's got some good, clean film in Die Hard.
True, and I'm glad that we didn't do a watch party because those were kind of fun for a while.
We got
But
done watching it here a little bit ago.
yeah,
The second one we'd be on now if you wanted to do both of them. But
yeah, but no, that's what I mean. They take too long, and then there's just like pauses where it's like, "Yep." So there's this one area.
you want to watch the best parts. That was the problem with the Karate Kid one. I noticed is we wanted to watch the best parts. So you're like,
Yeah, true.
stop.
That's true. But I'm going to start wrapping it up now. This is a awesome conversation, guys. Thank you, Chad, for coming on by tonight. Since Coach was the last one in, let's have you say something. You have any last thoughts, or you want to plug something? Go ahead, man.
Well, thanks for having us on, and Nick is the social fun one, and I am definitely not that. Thank you for putting up with my Rose Tico little. I can't. It's so late, I don't even know what I'm talking
Avatar.
about. Avatar, thank you. Nick and I are working on a documentary that we've talked about many, many times. We are in the home stretch of it. We've only gotten into an argument a dozen times in the last 2 days about it. So, anyways, as soon as this thing releases, we definitely want to get your guys' opinion. We are telling the story of the sequel trilogy. It doesn't sound like it's going to be all that great because why are we talking about the sequel trilogy? We think it's actually more entertaining than the actual trilogy itself. And with Doomcock's narration and the media that we chose, we feel like it's a home run. So we just hope that you guys enjoy it.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Coach. And I'm looking forward to your guys' documentary soon.
Yeah, and I've reached out to several of you about
right. So Super Green, anytime I'm like I say, hello everyone, I am your favorite you.
What?
What was that?
My message thing and it came up.
I was like, did Mecha Random just jump in here?
Your voice to Mecha Random. That was a good one.
Sorry about that.
That was funny. But Nick, while you're talking, I want your turn to plug.
I was just gonna say, just piggybacking off of what Coach said. We use a lot of YouTube personalities in our community and outside of our community because we're trying to keep the documentary as non-biased as possible. But it's definitely fandom menace leaning or towards our side leaning, but we try to stick to facts and just throw people's opinions and kind of give both sides of the story throughout. But we've reached out to several of you guys and several other people that are going to be a part of it. And yeah, I'm excited about releasing it. You know, when Coach brought this up, I was kind of like, I don't know. And once we started working on it, it really started taking shape and form. And I'm excited about getting it out there now.
Well, I can't wait to see it, man. I personally know the grind of contacting people simply to get them. That is a grind in and of itself, and then trying to find the messages that you need for people, giving people the instructions that you need, or what you need to know from them, or something, the permission you can get, all that. Alone is work, and that's not even the work part.
Yeah, absolutely. And Robert Meyer Burnett, who Tom knows, has actually been very easy to get a hold of off and on throughout this thing, and he's been pretty helpful in giving feedback, and he's gonna play a part in the documentary also.
Yeah, he's been very helpful. He's ripped it to shreds and made me do at least 50% more work.
That's part of somebody that's looking over it for you.
Yeah.
Robert knows his shit. Like he knows pretty much every, he knows how to write, direct, all that kind of stuff. It's amazing that he's gotten farther. And
the funny thing is when I Coach saw his feedback, Coach was not really happy about it. But after we took his advice, what we got afterwards, Coach loves, and it's even better.
So Coach does not like criticism.
Oh no.
Oh man, you gotta love it, man.
I mean, there's people that you can take praise or criticism from, and R&B is definitely one of them too.
I hear you
for sure.
That's awesome.
He made it better. There's no doubt about it. He helped us he put the thoughts in our head to make the best introduction for our documentary.
And you can totally tell that guys like him are not making special features and crap anymore. I see so many editing flaws and screw ups and just how bad some of the stuff is sometimes now compared to when guys like him were making it back in the day. It's just not the same. And those are the kind of guys, that like that's the kind of stuff that, like you guys are doing over there and we're doing on Midnight's Edge and stuff like that, where, we take the time to really make it pop and,
Well, you tell a story about it onto itself, which is like, I haven't seen special features on DVDs or Blu-rays or anything like that in, I would say, about 8 years, because they haven't really been that great for the last 8 years. It's been kind of paint by numbers, like template stuff, no life to it.
Well, I mean, there's a few companies that still do them, but they do them so on the cheap and on the fly. Like, like Robert told me, I don't know if it was one time on the show or not. So, but hopefully he doesn't get mad for saying this. I don't think he will, but like the amount of money they used to spend on that kind of crap, like he get the amount of budget that you could get for a small movie for special features. And now it's like literally pennies they get to spend on these special features now compared to back then. And most features, they just don't even bother anymore because they don't think people watch them. So,
yeah, especially with like the digital and streaming stuff, there's a lot less incentive.
I was so pissed about the Joker stuff. I bought that the other night. Speaking of, I got the thing I like about Vudu is they have it to where you can get the digital version and then you get the disc in the mail down the road. But like all the special features for the Joker they had on there is literally all the crap they had on the internet that they leaked early on for like the quick early tests for Joaquin as the Joker and all. So it's really, really crappy stuff. It's like I want a nice documentary about the making of this movie. I miss those.
Yeah, I mean, I only have the original script of Joker, and it's slightly different, but it's pretty much the same. And seeing that and then seeing the final product, you can paint a little bit of a cool development picture in your head, but it's not the same as like if you had like an EPK crew on site, just recording these guys as they're working through it and all the challenges and all the cool other ideas that come up.
Right now, but if you write that mini documentary, I'm sure we'd produce it and you'd get, a little percentage of it. I'm sure Andre would enjoy. That's the thing is we never have enough time to do everything.
Of course not. If only we can. If there's more hours in the day.
Well, I'm not a very good writer, but I'm good at like research and certain things like that. Rob's a better writer, but he's impatient. Andre's a great writer and researcher, but he just doesn't have the time. So it's like, yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, well, since you're talking now, let's go over to Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Oh, I've already tagged myself enough. Make sure that you've checked out all these other fine folks here.
Yeah, I was about to say we get enough Tom in everyone's business. Let's have less of him.
Yes, worry about Script Doctor, worry about Echo Base, worry about Christy, worry about Rookster.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about me. Yeah, worry about the other guys. Those guys are great. Like, I've seen a couple of Christy's things, which are absolutely like charming. So I like whenever I get to catch her live streams and her little short reviews.
Yeah, Christy was our first live stream moderator.
It's because of people like this. I love to do these kind of shows. So,
yeah.
These are my breaks. That's why I never shut up and I just keep it. Like, this is my break from work. You don't get it.
Yeah,
like,
it's your children.
I get to enjoy, and now as soon as I get done with this, I got to go back to editing something. So,
yeah. But Christy, your turn.
Well, I mean, you know me. I always say I have a channel. You should check it out if you like to. But I always go to like the Fandom Collective. I always say this: the Fandom Collective on Twitter and on the Fandom Collective channel, because there's just a lot of smaller content creators out there. What I mean by that is just everybody who has like the 70, 25, the 30, 100 to whatever that have great content, but they just need that little push or something like that. So I always just go to Fandom Collective. There's a lot of great people out there.
Yeah, that's right. We are working our best to try to get people promoted all the time. Starting in January, the Fandom Collective, we are going to have some new stuff coming out, hopefully. That'll entice some people to hang around a little more or to collaborate with each other quite a bit. Kind of like how Nicholas, Glenn, and Coach have been doing, like how I do with some of my projects. There's lots of awesome collabs that, get put together by YouTubers out there. And you never know until you try it. So we'll be doing those soon. But also say, Script Doctor, is there anything you want to, I know you don't want to plug your stuff half the time, but it's like anything that you're looking forward to soon, any work that you're working on you would share with anybody or no?
There's a couple of things I can share. I'm working on, I got an email, a Christmas email yesterday from one of my friends at a production house who is begging me to write a horror film because I pitched him one in July, sorry. And I've been trying to get it, working it out, and he's said he passed on the pitch to his boss and they love it, so now they lit the fire under my butt to start trying to really write it. So yeah, I'm working on that thing, which is why my videos are going to probably be staggered out for the next few months. But I've got chapter 7 of The Mandalorian coming out hopefully Saturday or Sunday. I know it's late, but I've had to think hard on that stuff and work on real life things. And like if my reviews are not so much like as a fan perspective, but just is it structurally sound as a story? Are the characters right, motivated? I talk about that type of stuff on my channel just to sort of give, I guess, people like the Fandom Menace some extra ammunition when it comes to their opinions on things, just so that it makes it difficult for some of the other side of people to use those ists and phobe terms against them, because I think that's just childish aspects. So if I can contribute a little bit of that, just help people better articulate and form their arguments that they already have in their back pocket without being thrown into that horrible bucket. Come check out my channel. It's good stuff there for you.
Yeah, the Script Doctor, aka Bob, is one of the best, or Bob or Bill.
Bill
is one of the best dudes out there, and it may not be one of the highest content creators, but definitely one of the most intelligent dudes behind the scenes, I would say. And glad to have him aboard.
I'm definitely not intelligent, but I will accept the compliment.
Okay. And I'd also like to give a big thanks to everybody in the chat tonight for coming by, and my moderators and everybody. I hope everybody has a good night, and I'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.